Well, hello everyone. It's a little bit early before the actual advertised start time, but we're going to sort of do. This is kind of how we did the show a while ago. Actually, we used to do a little 15-minute pre-show. It was like a little mini show, pre-show, and then at the hit of the hour we hit the main show. And then the stuff that I used to do in my early show, just like last week or whatever, I used to do at the end of the main show. So we're going to go back to that because a lot of the people in the Northern Hemisphere have just changed all their daylight savings back or forward or wherever, I don't know, up, down, whatever your clock's done, it's done something. And mine hasn't done anything, but I've been sitting here twiddling my thumbs for the last hour. It's an hour later for me to stream, but hey, that's fine. How's everyone? How is everyone? Let's have a look here. Let me know if the sound is too loud or quiet or whatever. I think I might bring my mic down a little bit. I think it's a little bit nasty. Let me just try a few words. Pop. Yeah, that's peaking. Pop. Pop. That's too low now. Probably maybe there, maybe there, maybe there. Okay, that is weird. That's supposed to be chatties, and it's not working. I do not understand. This is not working. We will fix this now, people. This is why we do the little early show. Cool. Look at that. There you all are in your illustrious, huge amount of people. Anyway, hello, Future World Machines, that channel member there, JX3D, another channel member and an awesome fella. So is everyone else, of course. Wagoo, big hello to you, mate. We have Daniela. Nice to see Daniela. Hi, guys. I have a short break of extra work I have to do. So that's nice. Don't work too much. Ken Lewis is there. Big morning to him. So he's on his mobile and he's just listening. What else? Brooksy's there. Hello, Brooksy. Culture of Ghosts. Hello to you. JP Page 2, nice to see you, mate. As your heads just jumped in. Corrosive Abuser. What else? Lady Aptitude, nice to see you. Hello, humans, she says. Steve Ward, another channel member. Awesome to have you, mate. QRDNK is also here as well. So yes. So what are we going to do for the next 10 minutes while people are adjusting themselves? I don't know. I really don't know. Why don't we go to... This view is an interesting view. Look at that. An analog... what do you call it? A4. Analog 4. Electron Analog 4. This is the Mark 1. These things are interesting. This is something that I've had for years. And yeah, I thought I'd get it out. It's been a while. So I'm not really going to be doing anything on the show with this. It's just here in front of me. So that's what my little desk is for. There has been some news from my studio, that is. So M-Block wants more marbles. Well, good. We can do more marbles. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it like this very second, but what I can do is I can give you guys a little play of the marbles. Let's do this. Here we go. Now we don't want that. We don't want that. We need, sorry, I didn't have that set up properly, did I? Let's go into Ableton and here we go. Marbles is working beautifully in the background there. There you go. So I'm just going to stop that. We don't really need that. Yeah. Now, obviously last week I had no idea what I was doing with that module. But obviously in the last week I have read the manual, I have watched videos, and I feel like I'm a little bit further ahead than what I was last week. Let's zoom in on it, because we can do things like zooming. If I can find my little zooming thing. There it is. Zoom away to marbles. Hang on, you guys can't see me zooming, so that's fine. Yeah, let's do that. Let's create an input with that. Cool. All right. And then we can, there's marbles there. So I don't want to like give you guys will know what it does anyway. You just watch the videos, but just a quick sort of rundown on this thing. Because Darren was brilliant in helping me get this thing up and running. And really, at the end of the day, what I kind of think this module was really strong at is percussive rhythms and generating sort of random-ish rhythms. So you've got this side here where the T is. This is all your triggers, right? And what I've worked out is the middle trigger, the T2. I don't understand why, but that's kind of like that's your main trigger. And then T1 to the left and T3 to the right are kind of offset by the bias here. So if the bias is in the middle, it just behaves normally. And you've got these three modes, and the three modes are based on like drum rhythms and stuff like that. Then you've got your sequence length. Jitter does the sort of like a swing. It's like a swing. I don't know what. I mean, jitter and swing, it's kind of similar. And then the X side is like your control voltage pitch. And at the moment, I've just got that going to a Behringer Brains or Platts clone module. And you're going to hear that sort of farting away in the background. So, yeah. At the moment, I feel like I'm better with it. I haven't worked out yet how to use the Deja Vu properly. So I do know what it does, but I haven't worked out how to get that working yet. So we're at with that anyway. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Yeah. We aren't. So what I thought we'd do next week, not this week, next week, is we are going to do a show about groove boxes. And here's one here. It's an analog groove box. And there's not many of them actually. So MC202 is a good one, if you remember that one, based on the SH101. Anyway, groove boxes, what are they? And what defines them? Is like an MPC a groove box? Is a sampler a groove box? Do you know what I mean? Like, so what defines them? What I can bring out, I've got a heck of a lot of groove boxes here, so I can just bring out a whole bunch. But I thought you guys would be interested. That's going to be the topic next week. So we've got a week to kind of come up with some ideas, and you guys can join in if you like. So that's that. In terms of the main show, we're about to start that in about 5 minutes time. So usually we'll do a little sort of noodle. For the last 6 months, we've been doing a little noodle. First, we'll call it the early show, and then at 2 o'clock UK time, we're going to hit in with the main show. But because of the clock change for me, it's later now. So I've basically been sitting around for an hour doing nothing. The main show still needs to start at the same time for me. Otherwise, I won't get to, I'll turn into a pumpkin. I won't get to bed till, way after midnight. So the main show starts now straight away at 1 o'clock. So if you guys have been coming to watch this show at 2 o'clock UK time, you're probably going to need to adjust it for the next 6 months during your winter months. It starts at 1. If you're here for the noodle, we're going to do a noodle, a synth jam, all that sort of stuff after the main show. So it just flips. It's just literally flipping over. And hopefully, that's how I used to do it anyway. So hopefully that works. Happy to get ideas from anyone who's interested if they want to change any of that. But there you go. So 3 minutes to go. Before I hit in with the rest of the show, I thought I would tell you guys about something that's come in today. This was something that I've been waiting for a long time because of the chip shortage, right? And that is another Behringer ultra gain digital, which is an 80A 8200. It's an ADAT rack mount module, and it gives me 8 ins and 8 outs. And with my little RME DigiFace module for my setup on my Mac, I can have up to 4 of ADATs going into it, and that gives me a total of 32 channels on that little sucker, which I think is pretty neat indeed. Roxy just rocked up. Hey. Yeah. What I thought we'd do is, we've got like a minute, so we can do this. I always forget which button it is to go across to that camera. There it is there. So in here, if I use my Mac keyboard and I go, I think it's Option Command, I don't know, is it 8? Yay. So I thought I'd show you guys. So basically, I can now route, for example, so this you can see here, this is my eurorack input, this one here, and I can now route my eurorack. At the moment it's just going to master out, but I can actually change that to go to any of these outputs in here, any of these, right? And I've started to label these, right? So for example, if I send it to this particular port, which I haven't labeled yet, I've actually got this currently plumbed into the back of my Akai Force, which means now I can sample my whole eurorack setup, literally the whole thing, into Akai Force. And I reckon that's a cool thing, because that means now I can route my audio anywhere I like in the studio, as long as the cable's there, and that will get me out of my drunken state. Now, to give you an example of that, let's go back to master. So if I play eurorack again, let's play eurorack. There it all goes there, right? You can see it running in there. If I change that now to external out, and then we'll change it to there, you guys won't hear it. Hey, because it's now going into one of the inputs in the back of the Force. And then I can just sample that. So why don't we do that? Why don't I sample that? If I arm the Force, I'll go to record. Here we go. And it should be recording, right? You can hear the clicking sound, sorry about that. Now let's see if this worked. If everything worked beautifully, we should have sound coming out of the Force. There you go, look at that. And now you can see over here on the right, there you go. It was a little sample, but there, it's coming out of the Force now. There's my little sample that I just did. Isn't that cool? Hey, route audio anywhere you like in the studio, including, I could route it to Andy. Andy, how are you, mate?
Is this microphone working?
It is, buddy. Sorry, I just had a bit of dinner in my tooth.
It is this one, is it?
Yeah, it is that one.
Okay, right, okay, just checking.
Oh. How cool is that? That's awesome. So, I mean, you can mute all your, all your mixer channels in your eurorack, and if you just want to sample one module, you can do that. Just little bit, and just do clip samplings in your Force. But I guess the benefit to that is that everything is clock synced in here. So I don't know if you remember, Andy, but I use Ableton Link for syncing everything, right? So Pamela's new workout is synced over here to Ableton Link, and so is the Akai Force and the MPC. So to give you an example, what I'll do is I'll clear stop that. I'll launch a clip on the Force, which is just here, and I'll just launch just a drum beat. Here we go. Why don't I do that? All right. Okay, so you can't hear anything else, but if I take this and change this back over here to master, I'll show you guys what I'm doing. Here we go. Everything's all on time. Isn't that cool? I can even stop everything from the force too. Yay, everything stopped from the force. I can start it from the MPC, which is sitting over here. Here we go. Everything started. Or I can start it inside Ableton as well. The MPC's there, the force is there. So, yeah, cool. Right, and it's just after the hour and no one's turned up. Actually, let me just grab a different number here. Sorry, so just one sec. I've got another guy coming in today, and I just want to get him to come in. Okay. 1 second. We're going to get Chris Maikshifter coming in today. And I don't know if it's going to work for him or not. I just noticed that he's having trouble connecting. So we'll just see how that works for him. Hopefully he picks that up. Right, okay. What do you think of that, Brooksy? Oh, you've been disconnected. What's happened to Brooksy? Brooksy's frozen in time. Just see if he picks up that. Okay, we are going to get stuck into the main show whilst all these guys are trying to reconnect. I don't know what's going on. Everything's ready to rock and roll with all the guests, but from my end, I'm just going to have to keep going. So why don't we hit this button and we can start the show. Welcome everyone to another episode of Synth Geekery. It's episode, what are we up to, guys? 183. Wowzers. Okay, so what is this show about? It's about synths, and we're geeking out about them. And you can see in this room here, there's a few, and probably where you are, there's a few synths in there. So hopefully we get some inspiration for each other. We're going to talk about stuff, anything to do with synths, music tech, eurorack, modular, analog, digital, sequences, drum machines, all that cool stuff. And hopefully you stick around and enjoy the regular segments that we have each week. We also have some awesome video guests, and they're all trying to connect at the moment, and it seems to be weird. Okay. Why is it saying tell me to let him back in? I don't know. Gonna have to troubleshoot the callers at the moment. Let me just see. All right, so let's sort that out in the background, and we'll start off with the main show. First, I'm going to sort of go across to chat to the chatties whilst all the callers are trying to get themselves connected, because that's probably a good way of doing it. And I'll put my ugly mug up in the corner here. Hello, everyone. Hello to all these people that I've said hello to earlier. And also we've got David, and he's a channel member, and Tao Sophie Music, or Tao Sophie Music, however you say that. Apologies if I butchered that. Brooksy, if you just reconnect, restart your browser, reconnect. I don't know, it should let you in. Not sure what's going on there. Maybe there's someone else. I don't know. Let me just call up the call manager here and see if I can see what's going on. Yeah, it's like it says that you've disconnected and logged in, and then it's, yeah, some errors come up. Anyway, let's see if I can get him sorted out on the chat. Yeah, here we go. He's messaging me. Let's see if we can get him connected. I don't know what's happening with that. In the meantime, actually, maybe, I'm not sure. Anyway. why don't we, while I'm trying to sort of troubleshoot with Brooksy, why don't we hit across to our first segment anyway? Let's do that, and I think we should be able to. I'm just reading a message at the same time as trying to run this show. Oh, he's back in. I think he's back in. Okay, cool. Right. Here we go. Here they all come now.
Good evening.
Yes. Hang on a sec. Let me just get everyone in. It's all crazy here. Guest 2, guest 3. Cool. And in the corner, we'll put the chatties. We'll put chatties up here. Sorry, I'm just getting all this ready so that we can all see each other. Here we are. Look. Hello. Hello, everyone. Brooksy, you're back in.
Hello.
And we've got
Hello.
Chris.
Am I back? Hello, Chris.
G'day, Rance. Thanks for letting me on your little show.
Beautiful. Let's welcome Chris because
Good afternoon. Yeah, do the introductions. Sorry.
yeah, because you guys will all know Chris as Maikshifter. Now I've got to change that. Sorry, I haven't even had a chance to change that.
Right, yes. Hello, Chris.
And Chris has been one of the amazing guys who has done all those Name That Synth videos. It's probably not his claim to fame though. I'll just put you as Chris in brackets Maikshifter. That's how people will know you. And let's see if this works this time. Ready, set. No.
No, it doesn't work.
Do I have to refresh it or something? Reload.
I've lost weight. I'm EJ Cole.
It reads. Oh, there it is. There we go. It just took a little while. It just takes a little while for Google, because I use a Google spreadsheet. Hey, look at that. He's all official now. Welcome, mate. Nice to have you.
G'day.
Nice little setup you've got there in the, with all your gear and stuff. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because that everyone would like to, sort of know your background and stuff. So you don't have to give too much away. It's obviously a public thing. So.
Okay, well, I'm Chris. I'm going to tell my age. 50 years old. I've been into synths since I was 15 years old. I actually came at music from a percussion and drumming background. That's what I learnt at school. I wasn't so good at the melodic side, which was a bit of a problem, but I've since corrected a lot of that, and technology has really been my gateway to, getting that music going. And I've always really been into electronics as well since I was young. And so that was another route into the music tech scene. So I mainly did all my original work when I was in the 90s. Oh, sorry, I wasn't in the 90s. It was the 1990s. And you've all seen the gear that I've been showing on the NTSs. That's pretty much from that era, the 80s and the 90s. And then Beautiful. I kind of gave up music for a while, which is very sad, I guess, for people watching, but it happens sometimes. You just get into other things. My career took off a bit. I'm a software developer, nothing massive or big or anything. I'm just, in a small crew of a company that I've been with for a very long time. But again, another little route into music again. I was writing plugins, VST plugins and things like that. So I've always been sort of coming into and out of music, and getting back into the hardware again, where everyone was, I think, getting excited with the rebuilding of analog synths and the whole technology behind it, and all the companies just blossoming. And then, of course, I discovered Eurorack, and then it was all over because once you discover Eurorack, you're pretty much hooked. And it's very, very hard to stop. But I'm very fortunate in that I've saved a lot of money by not really being I'm a complete nerd, so I don't have a significant other, and I've never been into night clubbing and things like that so much, but so I managed to save a bit of money, and so that's not too much of a problem, which I'm sorry for everyone who's struggling at the moment. It's probably not the kind of thing you want to be hearing about people who aren't, but I'm just trying to explain why you might be seeing me purchasing quite a bit of gear when everyone's kind of tightening their belts. I just don't really want people to feel offended by that. I understand. It's really difficult times.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I really late in the party, I discovered Ranzee's show, and that's was pretty much only a couple of months ago, and I just came across the show, not really knowing anything about it. I'm sitting here in Perth, Western Australia, which happens to be where Rant is from, and that was a complete surprise to me. And it was also a bit of a wake-up call because it made me realise how much I've kind of not really joined the kind of scene in my local area or anything like that. And I thought, how on earth did I not know who this guy was? Rant. So anyway, so it's really been interesting. Well, it's a small town, Perth, and the scene can be a little bit cliquey. And you could probably speak more about how slow people in this state have been to sort of pick up on the music technology theme. I mean, we only had a dedicated music technology store come in about 8 years ago, and everything else has been you have to buy from over east. And so us over here in Perth, we get the wonderful weather. They get all the new tech. Seems to be pretty much the way it works. Anyway, so I decided to come on the show. He's still in the jokes. Yeah, I'm trying to work out the technology here because I've never done live streaming before. Nice. So it's all new to me. So I just thought I'd give it a go. So much fun everyone has in the show. And you're all really nice, so I just thought I'd kind of come on and put in my little 2 cents where I can. And I've also I have to admit, there's been a couple of times where I've wanted to scream at the screen, and say, "No, you're missing something, or you don't know about this." Yep. So if I do that, I apologize in advance.
I get that a lot.
But yeah, I understand that it's very hard to keep track of the chat and do the stream at the same time. So it's a unique problem of live streaming, I think. This kind of fight between the two.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I probably blabbed on way too long.
No, that's awesome. No, we got a nice little insight.
No worries.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually quite linear in my thought process. So doing something like live streaming is really against every gambit of my fiber. Because I have to multitask, right? I have to do things. And you probably see me kind of sometimes choke up when I'm trying to do stuff, and that's literally just my brain just saying, "Nah, you're not going to get this thought going through your head right now because you're too busy doing something." And that's it. But music is actually a really good way to be sort of, double jointed or whatever it is. So, that's a cool thing. I think Chris was knocked off, and I just need to, just one sec. I just need to sort something out with... We've only got 4 spots, so we're trying to sort of squeeze everyone in today. Let me just see if I can get in. Where's he gone? Chris, if you want to try and reconnect, if you're still watching, that'd be cool.
Now, a little bit earlier in the chat, Ranz, I can't remember who said it. Somebody said that was it Chris said I was very quiet. Is it all right?
It seems to be. Let me just, I wasn't even looking at your thing. Just try that again.
I can't. I really can't push it up much more here.
Nah, so. You're good.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I think it was me that was too loud and everyone else was a bit too quiet. But anyway, yeah. I've just tried to get, let me see if I can get Chris to come back on because...
Andy, play the bongos on your microphone.
Because I think what's happening is Ian is trying to connect and he's just knocked Chris off, and I just want to double check that's the case. Yeah. So Ian is trying to connect and he's knocking Chris off, and that's fine. We'll get in on this in a sec anyway. So, okay, cool, beautiful. So Chris should be able to get back on now. Cheers. Right, so just messaging people on Facebook, trying to sort this stuff out. Oh wow, what a mess it is today. But it's a good mess, and hopefully we can get Chris to rejoin. If you're watching, Chris, reconnect. You should be able to get back in. If he's watching, is he in the chat? Let me see. Yep. There we go. He's reconnected.
Oh, he's
cool.
there. He's
So
back.
what was happening is
Oh, we got
Ian was trying to come in at the same time on your channel. So because I've only got 4 on here, because I'm a cheap ass. If I want to get more than 4, I need to spend money, and I haven't got the money to spend on it. It's something like $700 US. So bugger that. I'll stick with 4. What we could do is a Zoom call like thing, but yeah. Anyway, we'll sort that out another time. What we're going to do is we're going to go through our regular segments, which is about 10 minutes overdue, but that's fine. So are you guys ready for the regular segments? You guys should know what they are. Chris, do you know what the first one we do?
Sorry, Rod. Are Ian and Darren jumping in?
I'm going to get Ian to come in a bit later, and Darren should be here, but I don't know what's happening with Darren.
Is in the chat?
Is he?
Is this a timing thing? Have we gone? Are all our timings gone to pot? Is that what's happened?
Well,
He is in the chat.
Okay, so before we go into the show, let's just sort everything out. Because you guys have gone and changed your times over in the UK and over in the Northern Hemisphere, and we don't actually observe daylight savings here, Chris and I. So I basically I usually start the show at 1 p.m, right? But for me, 1 p.m. in the UK is now an hour later for me. So for me to do my normal show for 3 hours, an hour later, it means I'm going to bed at like nearly 2 in the morning, which is just stupid. So
not good.
You guys might remember that I used to do the show where the main show was at the start. We had a little 15-minute early come in, and then main show was at the start, and then we do our noodle stuff at the end. So we've just gone back to that. The only difference is that it's 1 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock. That's the best way to solve it. So now, out of Darren and Andy, as in Synth Addict, and Ian, I've got 2 spots left. So what I might do is, because we haven't got Andy, I might get Ian to come in on Andy's number for now, and that gets him in. Okay. Sorry, I'm having to do like musical chairs today. I've got 2 spots left. There they are at the top. So we'll get Ian's already wanting to come in, so we'll get him to come in. We haven't got Andy yet, and Darren's already in the room. So Darren, you can jump in when you're ready, mate. He's probably running downstairs and getting a packet of squishies while we talk. So, okay. While they're trying to get in, are you guys ready to run the first segment? We all ready to go?
Yay!
Cool. Right here, Rant.
Here we go. Here we go. It's all in crazy order. I see a small apartment. I smell a small. This is like a fortune-telling thing, right? I see you alone, and a lot of modular synthesizers. Jeez, that's a lot of music that no one listens to. That's horrible.
Oh, dear.
How did he know that? Bloody fortune tellers. They always know everything, don't they? Tell me the lotto numbers. That's what I want you guys to do. No one has ever done that. Here we go. Anyway, getting back to modular synthesis. Yes. Ian's in, by the way, so we'll go to him in a sec. You can say hi, Ian, while you're in the background if you like.
Hi, guys.
Hey, there he is.
Hi, Ian.
We're playing shuffles today.
Hi, Chris.
Beautiful.
That's no problem.
Yeah. Anyway, what about this one? User manuals. So this is kind of like the dilemma of user manuals, right? It has a manual. It's a tiny manual. So everyone has a whinge that it's too short. Even if there's a link to download the large one, they'll still whinge about it. But if it's a large one that they get in the box, that's too complex to read, so they'll leave it in the drawer. And then they don't use it, so they'll probably just chuck it over their shoulder. Or it doesn't have a manual at all, so they'll just whinge about that. So this is the cycle of whinge.
That looks like a Behringer printout.
There is a Behringer printout in the middle, just for some relevance. Yes. And then we've got side chain compression for babies. I really have no idea. And whilst you're jamming in your bed, just have a think about this bloke. Yeah.
Oh dear.
I think was that it.
That clearly is a thing, isn't it?
That definitely is a thing. Darren's
And I think the guy in the bed's a bit of a dummy.
Yeah. It's one of those like retro sort of pioneer type exhibits, I reckon, somewhere that photo's been taken from.
It kind of looks to me like a patent.
Yeah.
It looks like a patent application.
Yeah. Yeah.
From your
from 1912. Or maybe 1850. I don't know. Anyway, imagine the mechanics in that. That would have been insane, right? Because in those days they didn't have microprocessors. The mechanics would have been insane. Trying to fix that, trying to trace the wiring. Okay, what was your favourite meme? I know we're kind of really jamming it down everyone's throats early. So
Compression for babies, just because that kid's face.
I'm going
was
to
just
say
so
the
funny.
side chaining baby gets me.
side chaining baby, yeah. I thought that'd be the
agreeing
case.
the baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a bit sad that you didn't choose my meme, but that's okay. Mine was a bit nerdy. Anyway.
Was yours the manual?
Mine was the manual one, yeah.
Oh, no.
No, don't say. See, now that I've said it, anything that you say.
Yes, I know, but I have to be honest. I was looking through a Behringer manual yesterday, and it was driving me a bit mental because it was so brief.
Yeah.
And it was the 182 sequencer.
Basically, plug it in, and this is a picture. Okay, but how you use it, that's up to you because we don't care. Right. Next, what have we got?
This is my latest manual. This manual turned up this week.
By the way, it says synthetic, and I've got to fix that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Let me fix that.
That's the manual that came with my latest purchase.
With what?
It's this, which is a organelle.
An organelle. Oh, what?
Oh, the
And it comes
organelle.
with an A4.
It comes with that manual, and not even A4. It's just it's A5, one-sided. The other side is the guarantee, and literally that is the manual.
Well.
And having spent a couple of hours with it, you need a bit more than that manual. I can tell you that. It's
Is there not a PDF on the website? There must be.
yeah, actually there is.
Because it's quite a deep little box.
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah. But yes, and I've already installed the Lyra 8 patch, so it is currently functioning as a Lyra 8.
So really, where you are is at 0.2. You're whinging about the tiny manual, even though there's a download link there. See?
Yeah.
This is
And
true.
I have
So relevant.
I have started to look at the download link because I needed to.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. And
See,
what are the
my last purchase?
Yeah, keep going. I was going to say what the chat
I was going to say my last purchase, which I bought second hand, didn't come with the manual in there at all. So I had to go onto the website and download the PDF, and the PDF was 150 pages. I was like, oh Lord above.
Yeah.
That was the Bitbox Micro. Oh Lord, plough through all that. Well, actually, it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. So, well, it has been so far. So. Oh, Darren.
Darren's all dark.
Yeah.
He's all done.
And,
The
and he's muted
darkness.
too. He's talking to us, but we can't hear him. And
He's
trying
coming
to
from the dark
Oh.
side.
Oh,
God.
there he is.
Yeah,
It
switch the
surely
lights
isn't.
on.
It's like middle of the day there. What's going on?
No,
It's
them in black
It's
black as
not-
pitch outside. It's
yeah.
horrible.
It's raining here.
Find somewhere, Paul. This is what I asked last week. Are we going to start at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock UK time? And you said 2 o'clock.
I did? Okay.
Yes. I knew this was going to happen. We've been for this every time when we have daylight savings. And I'm sure I thought, it's got to be wrong. But if he says 2 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock.
Sorry.
Because I knew it'd be too late for you if we started our normal time, 2 o'clock. Yeah,
I
knew
must
it'd be
have-
an hour late, but you said 2 o'clock.
I must have
said
had a
2 o'clock.
brain fade when I answered that question.
Yeah.
When did you ask me that?
I was
After the show?
confused too.
Oh, I
And I'm in
kept
the
last
same
week
time
at
zone.
some point.
Oh, you guys will all get used to it. Stop your whinging. I'm gonna put I'm gonna do another diagram with all you guys whinging on it. Right? No, just kidding. We should hit this button because it is time for music news. What about this thing? The LL8. I actually kind of didn't know anything about this thing until discovering it on a news website, and I thought to myself, this is interesting. It's by a company called Robaux or Robaux. Why don't we check out? Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it. You're the resident pronunciator, Brooksy.
Is it French?
I don't know. I don't know. Robaux, yeah, maybe. Robaux. Anyway, let's do this. And we got no sound? We've got no
That's what
sound.
you like.
Hang on, that's why we got no sound.
Dedicated reset input. Program your patterns like on a classic TR machine. Record patterns with your fingertips. Create random patterns at the touch of a button. Turn your patterns into exciting performances with the mute and fill function. The LL8 has 16 patterns. Chain multiple patterns for longer sequences. But that's not all. The Lil 8 is now polymetric. Each individual track now has length reset, legato, and a probability function. For even more exciting performances, there's a new fill mode that repeats entire steps of the whole pattern. Expand your sequencer with a MIDI adapter to control your good old MIDI treasures. The new Robaux LL8 2.
Yeah, and what's going on?
The
There.
Robaux Sweet 16 Plus.
We don't want to do that. Right. I've just had a little brain fade with the connections here today, so let me just go back to here. Looks like Andy's jumped in and knocked Ian off, but that's all right. I'll sort Ian out in a sec. Just give me a second. Right, just give me a sec with that, and we'll talk about. Let's talk about this Robaux, whatever it's called. Now, the cool thing about this module is it's actually a TR style sequencer. So if you guys are used to TR-808 sequencers, this is actually going to be really cool, and that means that you can use this to sequence your Eurorack percussive modules, and it's based on that sort of TRR sort of sequencing thing, which is actually quite intuitive because I've always thought the TR style of sequencing pretty easy to use. And then the polymetric rhythms in it is pretty cool, that sort of stuff. So we're looking at 100 and what did I think it was? 127 pounds for that module. So it's basically a sequencer with
For a 8-channel, 16-channel step sequence.
Yep. Ooh. Pretty good. There is the website. There's the website. There is a
So it's
sweet.
eight
It's
triggers.
8 steps, yeah. So there is a Sweet 16 version that they've got.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go. Who likes that? Who wants one?
Does it come as a kit?
Let me.
I hope not.
Was anyone a little bit freaked out by the voiceover, the electronic voiceover on
Me.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Absolutely me. It was horrible.
that was spooked me.
they're going to get more and more plentiful as the years come, because those algorithms are actually getting pretty clever now. So they'll have a face soon. You'll be able to you'll have Tom Cruise saying it, and you'll have no idea that Tom Cruise didn't even say it.
With that voice, that'd freak me out even more.
Tom Cruise with a different voice, with Brooksy's voice.
Hello.
Should we get back to the
16
sequencer?
buttons and everything.
So now I think what's happening, if you're wondering in the background, if someone tries to connect on the same call that someone else is on, it knocks them off, and it just happened to Brooksy before, and now it's happening to Andy. And
Dominoes.
it is, and I've only got 4 spots.
Not the pizza people.
So it's kind of like
I'm sorry.
the front door keeps
all-
ringing. No, it's fine. You stay. You stay where you are. You're good. Okay. These people have sat here before. Right. Next thing. Did you guys want to make a comment about the LL8? I know you guys like to. I should give you guys the opportunity to comment on it. Anyone?
It looks like a funky little box.
Funky little box. How many
Yeah, I
HP?
think Andy'll be interested, if anything.
How many HP is it? I didn't see that.
Looks about 20, doesn't it? Doesn't look too big. It's about the same size as one of those Behringer modules.
It looks about 20 something, doesn't it? I didn't read what it was. It is written somewhere how many HP it is. But of course, telling me that it's 2 HP smaller than another module doesn't tell me how many HP it is. You idiots. Anyway, so 16 HP. There we go. Future World Machines to the rescue. What a good man. 16 HP for an 8-step sequencer. Let's have a look at the Sweet 16, because that is the other one. Just to show that in contrast. That is the other one. So you've got more steps and you got your patch bay on the right. So yeah, compared to that one. Now, from what I've been told, anyone who owns notice this is the LL8 with the little apostrophes, quotes next to it. This is the LL8. So this is the older one that they have. Apparently, if you've got the LL8, the firmware works on this, right? Let me just see if I can fix Andy up, because he's probably thinking to himself, "It's not working."
Yeah, and he's got up at early doors, hasn't he, to do?
There he is. I just had to find his messaging. Geez, right. Okay. What we might do is we might take it in shifts on who can come in. I think that's the best thing. Maybe I could give up my spot. That'd be cool. Right. Next. I'm getting all flustered today. It's fun. It's fun getting flustered, people. The next thing I want to show you guys is this little baby here. Not this baby here. Jesus. Come back, come back, come back. Right, sorry. I've literally just hit the wrong button and then it's gone to here and now I don't know where I'm going. Where is it? There it is. Yay. Okay, there is what I want to show you guys. The AMSynths AM8110, which is a SH101 VCO. And for those people who like SH101s and they don't own one, and they thought to themselves, wouldn't it be cool if we put that in Eurorack? Well, guess what? You can now. And it's not that expensive either. It's actually pretty damn cheap. It's like £160 for that. I thought that's pretty good. Considering that these,
interested in that.
This is a pretty boutique company, so you know you've got to give them a bit of a look at it. So it's got the sliders, so it is definitely SH101 style. Now, you get a little look at the electronics there, Chris. You'd be into that on the back. Now the chip is the important part of this, and I can't remember who knows more about this. If Kent is on, maybe he might be able to tell us. But it does say in here it's using an advanced AS, it doesn't highlight very well, AS3340A oscillator chip. Weren't the SH101s a different chip? I thought they were a different chip.
3340s.
Yeah.
So the original SH101s are 3340.
So this is an advanced 3340A. Now, I don't know what that means. It might mean that it's exactly the same, but it's got extra features. Who knows? And it might even tell us that here. Maybe it works better. It uses less power, or what?
One of the new batch of them, probably.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. By the way, the next question everyone is asking, because I know they are, is does this have the filter? And yes, it does. You can get the filter already. They've already made the filter for this. I don't know if it's on this particular page.
There it is. What's it? The SN101 VCF.
That one there with the maths on it? Yeah. £125 for the filter. There you go. So, sold out at the moment, but there's the filter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why they chose the red, because I always thought the SH101s, the original colour of the SH101s were, whoops, wrong button, were grey, weren't they?
You could get a grey, you could get a blue, you could get a red. But the blue and the red ones were more expensive, so most people didn't bother. If you ever see a blue one, it's a lovely, slightly glittery, metallic-y sort of blue. They're really lovely, but you really don't see them very often.
Okay, Andy, you're in.
In fact, when Roland released that,
Oh, what happened to Andy? When Roland released that, and then he froze. As everyone, no, he's just Andy's frozen. Ooh. Look at those sounds. Listen to those sounds. Did everyone hear that? Was that just me? It's like a pop sound, wasn't it? Yeah.
Sounded like someone coughing, yeah.
Andy, is your thing working? I think Brooksy's just got to reconnect. I can't do it from here. Andy, I can't hear your sound. Just keep trying. Right, we're going to keep going with all these technical problems with the callers. That's fine. Bear with me. Sorry, Ian, we're literally trying to sort of sandwich people in today, and we'll try and sort you out in a sec, mate. I do apologise. Where were we? We were here. And then we were here. And now we are here. It's like module-thon today. It is short pickings on the news, but I think a lot of these news things are actually pretty cool. This one especially, I like noise engineering stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff that these guys do. So, without further ado, let's watch this. Let's go. And what's muted again?
Pravus from Noise Engineering is a quad offset and mult in 4 HP. Offsets can be used to change the minimum or maximum voltage that a CV signal reaches. This module is a workhorse, so let's go through some examples of what it can do. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so you can be the first to know about all things new from Noise Engineering. Each channel has a dedicated bipolar pot with an LED for monitoring signal outputs. Let's get a visual using this oscilloscope. To the right, the offset is positive. To the left, it's negative. The input jacks are normal from top to bottom, so it can also act as a mult and offset the same signal by different amounts.
That's handy.
Here are a few examples. In this patch, we'll use the offset with a VCA, adding voltage to the CV going to your oscillator's level. You can also use the SP to toggle between two positions on one of the knobs on an oscillator. If nothing is patched into the inputs, the channels can be used as DC voltage generators. Set the knob to the first position, then use the sync Pravus to adjust the voltage for the second position. Toggle between the two using a mute switch. Another great use is with LFOs. If you have a bipolar signal and want to use it with a unipolar CV input, patch it into the sync Pravus and adjust the offset until the output only shows a positive signal. One other trick is to patch a CV signal through an attenuator like Sync Deferro, then into the sync Pravus offset, giving you complete control of the maximum and minimum voltages of a modulation signal.
I think we need to see some more examples of that LFO one, because I thought the LFO one was actually more intriguing than some of the other options, where you feed it an LFO and you saw the four connections all do different things based on where you had the attenuator. And I kind of feel like this is kind of like what maths would do, but with instead of it just being a potentiometer, which is going to just be increasing the resistance of something, that it's adding voltage inside. So you're actually, it's like an amplification of the control voltage signal in there. And I can see this being quite interesting with quite a lot of different sort of setups. And the fact that it's linear in its sense, so it can take one input and then apply it to all four, or you can use all four separately as well. So that's going to be like a little sort of toolkit type module. Anyone have any thoughts on that? I can tell you some more information if you're still a bit unsure.
I missed what it was, so...
So it's basically...
Was it a noise engineering module?
Yeah, it's a noise engineering module. It's basically an offset module to control voltage. It's called a sync Pravus. So basically, you can add voltage to something that's coming in, and then you can, then apply that to the other four in a linear mode at different whatever settings that they've got, or you can apply it uniformly as well. It acts as a voltage generator on its own when nothing's plugged into it. So you can do from plus or minus 5 or 10 volts, and it's normalized from the top, like I said before. And I just want to read here, there was something else. Modules available now for $140 US, which I thought was reasonable. The LEDs will tell you if it's a positive or negative voltage by changing the colors. And you can use it in a stereo because it's got 4 channels. You can actually put 2 stereo inputs into it and use it that way as well, which I thought was another sort of thing. And he does talk about that, I think, in another video too. By the way, all these photos, links, videos, everything that you see on the show in the news section is going to be in the blog article that gets published usually in about 12 hours time on my website. So, but yeah, anyone going to make a comment about the sync Pravus from Noise Engineering? Chris?
Can I? I quite like the form factor. I'm one for smaller modules rather than bigger modules because I have very limited modular space. So I quite like the look of the. It's only 4 HP, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Looks 4 HP. Yeah, so I quite like that. I'm very much for squeezing stuff in small modules. I've got little fingers, so there's no problem. Yeah, so it's interesting from that point of view, and I quite like the arrangement of the way it does its adjustments and does the voltage offsets and has multiple outputs. Pretty much what you said. It's just I mainly these days look at the form factors because just have to have the space. But the other company that does something similar, Acid Rain, probably heard of them. They do a few modules that are similarly voltagey, offsetty type ones. They seem to have done the same kind of thing. But they're a bit older and they were predominantly kit based. But I do have one of them. I have the slider one.
We'll bring up the old modular grid and have a look.
Yeah.
So Acid Rain. Acid Rain.
It's up there.
The switch, is it the chainsaw or the switchblade? Which one did you say it was? Or just the
one I've actually got is the Navigator, which is it has the positive negative, the attenuverter, the inverting, and also has a voltage offset function. Depends on what you plug into the different jacks, and then that all goes through the fader, which is really meant to be more for performance.
Right.
I haven't used it that much in my system because I haven't gotten to the performance sort of stage. So it's kind of, I bought that for a rainy day. But that I did like I like the look of them. I like the look of them though. So sometimes, occasionally, I'll buy modulars because it looks pretty. Shame on me.
Yeah.
That chainsaw oscillator actually sounds amazing, by the way.
So don't forget, this is also a mult as well. So you can use this as a mult. You got 4 ins and 4 outs, and see how they. I mean, it's not the greatest graphic, but it is connected. So if you put 1 in, that can actually be multiplied to the 4 outs, and it's. I do believe it doesn't actually say it on the website, but because it's voltage high, I do believe it's buffered. So that's actually a pretty cool thing if it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
if it's doing, if it's doing voltage adjustments addition, it'll definitely be buffered.
Yeah. But yeah, the modular grid website says it's 4 HP. Is there anything else in there? Look, these things aren't necessarily musical to look at, but what you've got to think of is when you're playing with, even playing with marbles or something like that, what I've been doing during the week, you could use this with some of those X or trigger outputs on marbles, and then you can offset voltages that are coming out of that. There'd be some insanity with this, which is cool. That's the whole thing about eurorack. You want some insanity in your sort of rhythms to sort of surprise your ears, and these sort of modules do that. I've
got enough insanity, Rant, so I don't need to inject anymore.
Well, that's the thing. We've got to make people suffer. That's our mantra.
I was just wafting that around. That's a precision. I got that off Mac actually in the chat. That's a precision adder. So you can set the actual voltage that you want with the knob on the top, and then that's cascaded down through the output. So then you can positive, negative. If you don't have anything else plugged into them, it will actually give you octave switches. It's actually really, really handy just for making those if you've got sequence going in a CV sequence. You can then transpose it up or down a particular amount according to that, and it'll have other uses as well. But I found that really quite handy. Unfortunately, I ain't got enough room in the new rack for all these little gadgets, so that's one I've had to say. Well, that's going to have to come out. But
everyone should have a
similar thing.
Yeah,
it's really, really handy.
And I don't have one, so there you go. The most common use for precision adders, like you said, Brooksy, is to take a pitch and then add octaves, and then you can farm that out to different oscillators and things like that.
If you have it up a fifth, which one is it? If you have it set to transpose up a fifth, let's say you're on C, it'll go G one way and F the other way. So you can do the first, fourth, fifth sort of in terms of sequences, and then you can actually using the other switches go further up, further down the octaves. It's really quite immediate. But I've done that once in a live setting, but I haven't since because it's had to come out. But it will sneak its way back into the system at some point.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's it. News-wise, now there was more news during the week, but I didn't think we needed to add obviously there was the Oddity software synth that came out from G4 Software, and there was a massive show on yesterday. I don't think I need to say any more of that. Those guys covered that pretty much to death.
Hey, Ranzee, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Awesome.
Oh, it's working. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Hey, just real quick about those little modules like that. It's good to have a bunch of random little tools. Other than having like a giant maths module that most people don't use very much, it is handy to have lots of crazy little tools. Like I have a Logic tool and I have a bunch of other weird stuff that I kind of barely use. But hey, I'm Ian.
Yeah.
Actually, I talked to Ian already. We're going to tag team. I'm actually going to stay for a while and then I'm going to drop because I'm actually going to go to the Synthposium. It starts in a little while.
Yeah. I fixed your name anyway.
Thank you. But yeah, little tools you may not use very much, but if they're, you have space, they're cheap enough, and you want to experiment, it's always nice to have, not just buffered mults, but Logic and the adder, like you mentioned, a bunch of other crazy stuff. I was at an EMOM a couple nights ago in San Francisco, and this guy had a pretty interesting rig, and he's using alternate firmware in a lot of his stuff. So he has apparently Mutable Peaks has a firmware where you can turn it into phase lock loops, and you can do experiments with that, which is pretty fun. So all kinds of stuff you can do if you just look at what you already have, and maybe you can alter it or add some tiny little thing to change it. So.
Yeah. For me, I've got Voltage Block, which does a whole bunch of cool stuff other than just sequencing. A lot of people don't realize you can use Voltage Block to modulate, not just sequence. Pitch. It's a modulation source. It's a really cool module, and there's a massive range on those sliders with the voltage on them. So and the fact that that's actually patch saved, controlled is a cool thing. So there's another one. If you really want to get into that sort of voltage, variant type stuff, that Voltage Block one. Think outside the square. Don't just think it's a pitch sequencer. Think outside the square. You'll find something interesting with that. I mean, even like marbles into Voltage Block. So you use marbles as a trigger and use Voltage Block as a pitch volt per octave sequencer. You can get some really interesting results, and you can actually have marbles trigger Voltage Block as a clock as well, using the way it works. So my mind's going crazy at the moment with all the stuff you can do at the moment in here with the 82 modules that I've got. It's crazy. Right, so we should go and quickly look at the chatties. And look, I know this shows a lot of Eurorack in the show, but we definitely show synths. We definitely show other gear. But at the moment, today, in this very particular week, there's not a lot of news in hardware. There's software. There's and that's been covered. So Eurorack is pretty much it news-wise. And I thought those three things were pretty interesting. Just in my opinion, someone has always said, at some stage, let's have an SH101 in Eurorack. Now you can. That those noise engineering modules are awesome. And the first one, which is the TR style sequencer, in a fairly compact sort of thing, is also cool. Because most of us have used the TR, either a TR8. I think Roland just about sold everyone a TR8, didn't they? Or someone's used a TR808 or a TR909. There you go. What's Chris got in his hand? That's his new toy. That's his new toy.
6S.
A TR8, a TR6S. Yes. Yeah. There you go. So, and that has the TR based sequencer on it. So there you go. Very nicely hand modeled there, Chris. Thank you. Right. What are we going to do now? We're going to do this. Bang. Yeah. All the segments this week. Do not worry, you're not going to miss out on any segments this week. Today, though, we have live auctions. Why did that go blank? That's really weird. Why don't we just hit this button anyway? Just go to the live auction. Okay. Some of these are... Okay, so the first two, I think, are a bit scammy. And the the third and the fourth are just kind of interest-based. So not everything's scam-based, as I say each week. But, geez, look at the condition of this thing. What did they clean it with?
That's not scammy, it's scabby.
It is scabby, yeah. What did they clean it with? Oh, my God. You really stuffed up. Someone could probably fix that. Get that into like a plastic polisher ASAP, and you could probably rescue that. But you'd probably have to redo all the decals on it, though. Oh, the poor R8. Hey? Massive.
I got one of those for about $90, and it has a finish like that.
It does? Well, you got yours for a steal. They want $233 for this.
Yeah.
This one's in Tokyo.
It's got the furry plastic on it. That always does that.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's scary, that stuff.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.
Is it just that it's worn away?
No, they've tried to clean it. You can tell
They
they've
use the
tried to
wrong,
clean it.
solvents on it.
Yeah. They've used like, I don't know, grout cleaner or something. I don't know what they've used.
I think maybe an angle grinder, Rance.
I mean, it could be stomach acid. Someone may have thrown up on it. So, you know.
You never know what happens.
It's in a pub.
You never know what happens.
It's in a pub or live show. Someone could have thrown up on it. So
it could have been. It could well have been. What about this one? A JP8080 for 4,600 Australian dollars. Halve that for pounds. I think that might be a little bit rich. That might be a little bit rich.
Lovely machine, but
in fact, it's so
I see around
rich.
1,200 now. So
where is it? I think it might be this button.
Telling me, Dream.
Yep, it's that rich. It does come with a box though. Nice of him to keep the box.
and it does have a vocoder.
Lots of photos of the box. Original manual. More box. More box. More manual. Oh, serial number. Grill. Yes. Anyway, I actually really rate these synths. They're actually pretty cool. I know people don't. Some people don't like them. I actually really like them.
no, it's not. It's memory card.
Yeah, it was something I always wanted. That.
Yeah.
The desktop version of the.
I like
GP.
that. Yeah. But I ain't spending that much. What about you, Chris? Are you going to spend $4,500?
Probably not. Although I am surprised at how good it looks for its vintage, but
I think that's the point.
A lot of design cues taken by modern synths from that.
Yeah, it's in South
Particularly
Carolina.
the
Then Andy.
LEDs.
Yeah, it's in Somerville, in South Carolina. Maybe he's saving up for some ginseng later on.
No, he probably needs some drug money. So
Ginseng. All right, let's get back to some. Yeah. Let's get back to some normalities with gear. Who would love themselves one of these? Jupiter 8, 54,000 Australian dollars. So what are we? 27,000 pounds, 28,000 pounds, somewhere around there, in Brooklyn, New York. Roy's Gear Locker. This is a Rigid Edge one. This one. So Rigid Edge meaning it's actually a proper listing. I don't know if he'll get that. I have seen them go for 30,000. Actually, someone's actually paid 30,000 Australian for one. So I don't know if you'll get 50,000, but hey, you never know. You never know. If you're thinking about buying a Jupiter 8, you probably missed the boat. I'd say they're now in museums.
Silly.
Yeah. What about John Bowen? Oh, no, not that.
Hey.
What about John Bowen Solaris? I keep hitting the wrong buttons tonight. John Bowen Solaris for 6,000 Australian or 3 and a bit thousand pounds. These were a really interesting synths. These were really
they cost that anyway, and there aren't many of them.
Correct. And the guy's still around, and he's still doing firmware for it. So, you know.
he has modules now too. You can get a module version.
There's a really nice synth, though, honestly. Digital, but nice. Digital,
Guess
but
who's
nice.
got one?
I don't know. Who? You?
Well, who's the greatest synth collector that we know?
Right.
And he got one before the
Wagoo's
rack
just
came
said
out.
he's got-
Oh, this is Wagyu.
Yeah,
have
he's
one.
got. Yeah,
His
Wagoo's
name,
got one. He says.
his name didn't even come to my mind when you said that. Anyway, so out of the price watch this week,
He's got at least 2 of everything.
but I thought he only just buys rack mount synths, and you're talking about like a keyboard synth. Anywy,
Well, he has a Hydrosynth. So
true.
I thought he only bought modded synths.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
Okay,
He
so
buys anything, everything.
an R8, a JP8080, a Jupiter 8, or a John Bowen Solaris. Which one would you guys get?
Solaris.
Solaris.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Is that a good
There was a
value?
local one for about $4,000 a while ago.
Hey, by the way, these guys are actually, I should give these guys a plug. I've bought from these guys. So this would actually be probably a decent price too. Switched On Music in Austin, Texas. A good bunch of guys. They always really high quality used gear. And I actually bought 2 things from them, and I've shipped it to Australia. A Yamaha thing, forget what it was. A vintage Yamaha thing, and it was in really good condition. So yeah, big plug for those guys if they're watching. I don't think they are, but anyway. Sometimes you just can't get. You know what it's like, Chris, don't you? Living in Perth, there's literally nothing here. If you want to get something that's rare, you literally have to pay the freight and get it here.
I have to go to your studio if I want to get something rare.
Probably.
Just,
Or you could make
Careful,
it.
Lance.
He's going to hunt me down. He's hunting me down. All right. Now, prematurely, I did hit the stinger for the next segment, didn't I? It was a little bit premature. So let me just minimize all this stuff and maximize this. And then let's roll that again now. Which one was it? It was this one. Let's run that again. This is sponsored by Plugin Guru, and I do want to give them a definite sort of plug. Pardon the plug, but yeah, we'll talk about what they are up to very, very soon. But good news is, everybody, it's back. Name That Synth. It's been hard. It's slim pickings. No one's been forthcoming to provide videos, but I have managed to get one for today. The last one we did, I think, was yours, Chris, and that was amazing. So anyway, today there is going to be a little bit extra time, but what I am going to do is I'm going to mute all of us, so all you'll hear is just the video. And so for those who are new, this is what you have to do. We're about to play you a video. It's going to be of a synthesizer that is just one synthesizer, nothing else. There's no external treatment, no effects, no compression, no EQ. It's just the synthesizer coming out the back of it and recorded and not treated extra. Yes, it can be multi-tracked. The visuals may trick you. However, you get to have a guess. Definitely have a listen first. Don't be too quick. You never know. But then again, you might get it straight away. And put your guess into the chat as we are watching. And whoever gets it first will win a copy of Plugin Guru's beautiful software, which I'll go through and show you guys in a sec. All right, here we go. Muting everybody. 3, 2, 1, go. Well, what do you think it is? Time's up, by the way. Time is up. I'm going to have to say that one. Yes, it was a long one because I thought 1 minute is actually probably too much of a challenge for people to get their whatever they want to get musically into 1 minute. So I'm going to leave that 1 minute rule kind of a little bit more flexible. I mean, we don't want like half an hour, but a couple of minutes. I think that was about 3 minutes. I did say time's up, so whoever's put any entries in after where I've said time's up, unfortunately that is it. You have missed out, but shall we reveal? Shall we reveal, guys? Is everyone is everyone perplexed? I think everyone's perplexed, aren't they? What is it? What the hell is this synth? Well,
it's you messing with the graphics, Ranz. Puts us all off. Oh, it's a Roland. So it's the opposite colour scheme.
It's the silver that got me.
JDXI. Somebody said JDXI, half god, half beast.
Yeah, it was after time's up though.
Lemmings.
Very good.
Brett Lemmings got in there.
There we go. JDXI, everybody. Who guessed it?
Very good.
Where was the time's up stamp?
Just after Brett Lemmings. So Brett Lemmings got in there just in time.
Brett Lemmings gets it. Yeah, well done, Brett.
Yeah.
You did that thing I did for the OB12 where you changed the color.
Yeah.
Skin. So.
Yeah. But I'm not actually changing the color. All I'm doing, if you're ever wondering, it's just a video edit.
Solarize or something? Or is it?
You either invert or solarize, which is just standard video editing techniques. What did you guys think of the JDX? I mean, a lot of people thought at the first there was analog synths coming out. Well, there was an analog synth in it, but that's why they were thinking that was an analog synth because there's an analog synth all through that.
It's a full voice.
Actually, to be honest.
It is a full voice.
That's a full voice analog, isn't it?
Is it? No,
it's voices of digital.
One voice analog, two parts digital, and a drum part. And believe it or not, I actually didn't even use the drum part in that particular video. That sort of bass sound was actually the analog synth doing that. It was almost a kick sound, but it was still the analog synth doing it.
The digital supernatural sounds. So.
Yeah. There were a few people picking some of the Yamahas in there. There was someone saying, I think it was
quite a lot of thought for Korgs, the Radius.
The JD800 from Lady Aptitude I thought was quite a good guess because I think it definitely had some JD type sounds that I used as patches in that. But Brett has already won, I believe. So we can't give it away twice to the same people. But Brett, just double check with you. I think you've already won, haven't you, mate? Anyway, so I'm going to do something once we get Brett's comment back. This is what you get if you win. Unify from Plugin Guru. It is an amazing software thing. Have you started using yours yet, Andy?
I got it registered. I got the registration, but I haven't had a chance to install it. So I'm a bad boy.
Yeah. Why don't we do this? I don't want to watch. Let's just go to some random. This is Unify, guys, and that's Skippy.
And this is one of the bonus patches that comes with the library.
So while he's not talking, just have a look there. So basically, he has got a whole bunch of instruments all together, and you can actually you can control the patches. You can group them together. It comes with libraries as well, so you don't even have to do half of this stuff. It is amazing, this piece of software, and it's basically it's really good if you're spending a lot of your time in the VST sort of world, and you just think to yourself, what can I do that's a bit more fancy and a bit more different? Layering is the way, and library management is also very, very handy as well. It does a lot more than that too. So, let's let's not sort of beat it too badly, because it's definitely a cool piece of software. It's only $79 to buy too if you want to get it, and it's really quite intuitive. A lot of people have got it; they swear by it. So good on Plugin Guru for that. Anyway, so what did Brett say? He said, "Yeah, half god, half beast will have to get the prize." I think we'll give it to him. I think we'll give it to half god, half beast. If he hasn't won it already, yeah. I think the thing was when he put his entry in, half god, half beast, I hadn't revealed it yet at that stage. We were in that sort of limbo land. So I think technically he didn't even have an idea what it was. Yeah. By the way, let's have a little chat about the JDXi while we're here. Who's got one? Am I the only one that's got one? Yeah, you got one?
Yeah. Oh, Andy.
Andy's got everything. Andy's got like a warehouse at the back of his house with every single synth known to mankind in it.
And before I drop, I'll show you a new toy I got. So.
Okay. What one are you on? You are on this one. Go. Oh, you got to go.
I should drop soon. Give Ian a chance. Everyone jokes about this thing, but I watched a bunch of videos. I saw the updates, and at Perfect Circuit, it was on sale. So I got a time tosser. So I'm officially a tosser now. And, what's cool about it is it's a slicer looper.
Yeah, I remember that when they announced it.
Audio munger kind of thing. And it has these cool, they're light up pads. They look like drum pads.
Yeah,
they're actually like a QWERTY type.
Yeah,
cookie pad,
like the Polyand tracker.
Exactly. Yeah. So
yeah,
and it's just a
I
simple,
actually saw
audio
somebody using one.
A time
MIDI
tosser
and USB, and very simple.
I honestly thought they were going to change the name, because I remember we announced that thing. Like it was last year, I think, when they were doing the Kickstarter or whatever it was, and I honestly thought there was a lot of backlash about the name, and I thought they're going to change. They have to change it, but they didn't. Good on them for sticking it through.
Well, they're from Utrecht, right? So they have their own. They don't really care,
They don't care, yeah.
They don't care about the language.
Those crazy Dutch, crazy way they're going to do it.
Yeah, English isn't their main language, so
they have competitions where they toss humans, don't they, for a sport?
Yeah, I actually saw somebody use one.
Showing my Dutch strength.
The last Derby EMOM was somebody using one. I thought, what's that for anything? And then
it's very clever to tweak stuff while you're jamming, because like no one wants to do what Suzanne Ciani did at the Buchla thing, where she's live patching constantly. That's a nightmare, right? So with this one, you can actually take.
She's very good at it.
If you bus it, she's amazing. But if you bus it, you can say, I want to take just the rhythm stream and tweak it, and let the other stuff go, and extend your rhythm stream out, however you want to do it on beat. And then if you want to do switch it to everything, now you can do everything DJ style, and then you switch it back to some other track. So if you dynamically route it and mix it at the same time, it could be very interesting stuff. So that's the goal anyway. We'll see.
Did you ever see the video of Suzanne Ciani in the 80s where she was on the Letterman show and she was demonstrating?
That's awesome, yeah. That's great.
If
the vocal stuff. She had that voice she did for the pinball machine.
Yeah. If anyone ever thinks that they wrecked a live gig because they were nervous and they plugged the things in wrong and they couldn't get something working straight away, just watch that. She's on like national TV. There would have been like 30 million people watching that in the 80s, and she just plowed through. It doesn't matter. She was amazing. So yeah, watch that. It's floating around on YouTube again. It seems to be doing its rounds recently because I think she's just.
There's a guy who uploads classic Letterman bits, so you'll definitely find it easily.
Yeah, she was good. There was also that performance that she did just recently too, which was awesome as well. Good to see. Gee, she'd be getting on a bit now, wouldn't she? What is she?
Well, that's why I want to make sure I got to see her play live, because
is she in her 60s?
Not only is it amazing to watch her play, she's older than that.
Oh wow!
She was working with Don Buchla in the early 70s.
Okay.
and yeah, I was not long after I was born, basically. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, but she looks very nice. She's very well spoken. Still, she's not like she's not getting old like that. She's definitely chipper. She's got her skills.
She's got her
And
faculties.
the piece was amazing. She had a mix of like analog on an iPad and another iPad controlling some of the surround features, I think. And then the 200E that Manny and I basically watched her patch right in front of us.
Yeah.
So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because I reckon someone like that you have a conversation with would be similar to this conversation that I had during the week with this person that I knew as a kid who introduced me to the Fairlight. Right, when I was a kid living in Adelaide in South Australia, I went to this university that my mum was a student at, and mum was like basically I was in like a year 11 or something, like almost finishing school, and she just said go sit over there and eat a sausage roll and shut up or something. And then I looked over in the corner and there was this amazing looking computer with a keyboard on it, and there ended up being a Fairlight, and this professor came over that was working there at the time, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to check it out?" And we ended up being mates after this. It was awesome experience. Anyway, I bumped into him online the other day, and we were chatting about the progression of what synthesizers have done since then. And he said, "Imagine if we had iPads and DAWs and all the stuff that we've got now back then. Imagine the music that would have come out in the 80s and the 90s. It would have been incredible. It would have been incredible." So yeah, it was an interesting thing. And I reckon someone like Suzanne would say something similar because she loves that sort of, that connectivity side of it. She loves to, patch that into something that you wouldn't even think about, and let's see what that does. She's the pioneer of that.
Back in the 90s, as you know, I used to play live a lot at clubs, and I'd be taking a mountain of gear out with me. A couple of mono synths with like the Pro One, the SH101. I had a bass station and a free bass in the rack sampler, keyboard sampler, mixing desk, effects units. And it just occurred to me the other day when I actually looked at the rack here that I've got all of that power now that I had taken it out live then in the eurorack case, the 204 6U modular case. Since putting that bitbox in, it's got all the sampling, it's got all the drums, I've got all the synth voices and things that I used to have. With the BeatStep Pro and the KeyStep, I've got a setup which is the equal of what I was taking out way back in the 90s, and I can pick it up and walk away, chuck some stuff in the carrier bag, pick the case up with the lid on, and off I go. It's that to me is remarkable. I know you could do it all on an iPad, like you said, you could have an iPad app, but I think there's still something visually important about having something like this case.
Beautiful. Hey, Brooksy, I want to, without notice, right? I want to get you one day, when you feel comfortable, to talk about that Bitbox module, because I'm intrigued, because I'm still sitting
I've got
back.
some learning to do yet.
I understand, but I'm still sitting back, and I think we've talked about this before, where I don't know whether I'm going to get an ALM Squids sample, or if I'm going to get that, or there's a few other options I've got. And I'm pretty fat when it comes to samples that aren't in Eurorack anyway, so maybe I don't even need any of it. But there's something that's kind of tweaked my interest with that Bitbox, and the fact the CV sort of manipulation of samples is a cool thing.
Unless you're going out live, I would say, why would you bother? For me, that is, I know I could have taken an MPC or the Electro sampler and this sort of thing out to a gig, but it's just another bit of gear to lug around. So the actual, for me, it was putting that in. It's in the rack. It's cozy. It's convenient, and I've used it. Actually, just being able to chuck in a sample by hitting the little on-screen pad. That sample could be quite a long thing. I've got into sort of taking small snippets and then stretching them in pause stretch and then sticking reverb and delays. You get these wonderful ambient textures that way for not a lot of effort. So, and I found that really spot on. But I do still have a lot of digging around because what I've not yet managed to do is create a multi-sample patch where I've got, you know, a bass drum, a snare drum, a hi-hat, toms, percussion, all laid across the keyboard, which you can do, but I just haven't got there yet. So at the minute, I'm just putting the samples in and going play, play, play. I can play them from a MIDI keyboard quite easy. That was so when you get one that's pitched, I can play it back from the key step. That's been really, really cool. But
just quickly, just to say thanks to Wigoo.
Oh yes,
thanks to Wigoo for the chuff of 10. Thanks, mate. There's a little dancing cat thing on the YouTube thing. It doesn't show up on here. Sorry, Brooksy, to interrupt you.
It's a Shiba Inu.
Yeah, Shiba Inu, yeah. Brooksy, where I'm coming from with this, and it may be different for you, because I know you've got a different sort of need, but I want the sample manipulation via CV. That's what I want. And you can't do that with an MPC. You can't do that with an Akai Force. You can
do you mean using CV to shift like start and end points of a sample and scroll
and
through
also
them? I am pretty sure it does that, but I haven't got even close to it.
With the Squid, you can actually you can use like an LFO, and it will scroll through a library of samples and play tiny little snippets of them. As it's just all this crazy stuff that you can do with control voltage that none of the samplers have got at the moment. Maybe the Deluge might, I'm not sure, but you know, for mine, that's kind of the intrigue that I've got with it, and I know that the Bitbox has got some of that stuff in it. So yeah.
So a quick thing about the Bitbox Micro, why you should get it.
Yeah.
So before I got mine, I actually had an ADAC radio thing. I don't know if you've seen that before with all the dials on it, where you put in SD cards and samples. That will mangle the hell out of your samples if you don't want to get a fancy thing like the Bitbox or Bitbox Micro. So that's a cool little unit to get if you can find one. They're not as common for just chopping up audio on the fly. But the Bitbox Micro not only can have lots of samples that you can do, you know, drum hits and one shots and loops and stuff, but it could be recording CV on some channels while you're playing on other channels, and also recording your entire show or stream on another channel. So it's incredibly versatile and has tons of memory and other features. And so it's kind of a jack of all trades module when it comes to samples.
Yeah,
you ought to get Andy to talk about it. He knows it better than me.
Yeah, well, we can definitely do that.
I I've been recording a whole live set. That would be
you can do. I mean, the CV recording is very cool too. So you can record. You know, your joystick records CV, but this thing could be multiple channels of CV and then playback during your show. So you have all this modulation you don't have to think about. If you have a show idea in mind and you know the timing, you can just have it on the Bitbox and just fire off CV. Because it is DC coupled, so
Darren, you had something at one stage. You had an idea of getting something like that for yourself, didn't you? Where there was, I think it was at Polyend, or one of them was going to do like a module which was like a patch saving thing, which recorded CV and you could recall it. And I don't know if you ever
the preset, Polyend preset.
Yeah, the preset. Did you ever go down that route? I can't remember if you did or not.
No, I didn't get it in the end. No.
Okay, so that's kind of a similar thing.
I don't think it actually come out at the time. I think it was just at one of the shows.
An idea, yeah. But that's kind of the thing that you're talking about, isn't it, Andy? Where you can record CV and play it back, and
it's more than it seems. And they need to. I've seen a lot of videos from users saying this stuff. The company needs to push this more. They're not evangelizing it as much as they should. So anyway, it's really good. But anyway, I should drop so Ian can join. I don't want to hog up all the time. So
yeah, no, it's good.
It's good to see everybody.
We enjoyed having you on.
Cheers, Andy.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
See you, Andy. Thanks, mate.
See you, Andy.
Ian, you can jump back on because Andy's off. He's frozen in time. Sorry, Ian.
Just for a moment, Ranz. I haven't actually said hi to Darren. Hi, Darren.
Yeah, well, that's because
we had all this kind of craziness going on.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, that's
but,
because we're blaming
it just
Ranzee
seems
for that
rude.
because he got all times all mucked up. So
Yeah,
Ranzee's fault.
yeah. This is, if you ever want to know what I'm like, this is what I'm like. Unpredictable and chaotic. And if you don't like it, bad luck.
And here's Ian.
And Ian's back. Yay, now I'm going to have to change the title.
Hey. Yeah.
Sorry about all this,
Nice to
Ian.
meet- No problem.
Hiya,
So
Brian.
I've just been. My name is Andy, and I've just been sat here eating squishes.
Yes.
Which
Oh,
is Darren's
influence.
fault.
Darren's addiction.
His
It's
influence.
Darren's fault.
Yeah.
I bought a load of them.
Yeah, his influence.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Oh, g'day, Ian. G'day, Ian.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
Nice to meet you.
I said nice to meet you as well, Chris.
yeah.
Hey, we can do this.
No words are necessary, Darren. You and the purple one
On the park bench.
just legends
Oh,
to
the
me.
purple
So,
one, yeah.
So we can do.
as you
Actually,
could, in fact, that's my tribute to the purple.
you can say hello to Ian that way.
Oh,
there you
right.
go. Say hi, Ian.
Ah, hello, Ian.
Yeah,
My
there you go.
previous blocking
Hello,
your face.
Chris.
That doesn't very good.
It's really
Hello,
nice to
Ian.
meet you.
No worries. I think
Yeah, it's all
I
right
think
to
you
work.
still have a big. I think you still have a bigger studio than me.
Me?
No, I think you have a
honestly,
bigger studio than me.
No. This room is tiny. It's half a garage. It looks bigger than it really is.
Ian, you've got
Oh,
a studio though, don't you? You have got a studio.
But this is it. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I used to have a studio.
I'm probably on the size of
to give you-
Chris's.
Darren's
This
fixing
is-
this cup here.
I can almost touch side to side. Give her about a foot.
Oh, it's about the same as Darren's.
So,
Darren's is about that.
yeah, it's not. It is literally
that
half
way.
a garage.
6 by
Yeah.
6. I'd say 6x6. It's probably a bit smaller than
Yeah.
that, but let's say 6x6. But it's been changed. The name of this studio has been changed anyway by the purple one, 'cause it's now the Purple Loon Studios.
Oh.
So
Yeah. You don't know what gets up. They get up to when the camera's not on. You know, I reckon Darren's probably tried to swing him around in there to see how big it is.
Yeah.
And he probably punched him in the head a few times.
I
It's
did
all-
get punched in the head. Yeah.
It's
I
all,
keep on picturing. I just picture this little bin in the corner where all the knobs have been pulled off, and just sitting in there piling up. And every morning, Darren has to come in and try to work out where they all go again.
Yeah, it's so chaotic in it.
yeah. He doesn't have an Easter egg hunt at Easter time. He has a knob hunt. He has to go around his back garden finding all the knobs off his synths that have disappeared.
Just to do out the window.
Or the park. Yes. Okay, so all of the main segments done. We did name that synth. Everyone should be happy, other than Darren because he likes to whinge. Everyone should be happy. About time, you know. Anyway, because we got through all the show. Now, at the start of the show, I mentioned to some of the people that were like early, so they probably not everyone that's here now would have heard this. So during the week, I picked up another ADAT module, right, for my audio interface. And one of the cool things about it, I was telling Brooksy about it, is now it's basically filled up my little diggy face, my digital interface. Now I've actually got physically 32 inputs and outputs going into this thing. And just to give you an idea, in my studio, so right above my finger there, that is one of the ADAT modules there. Then underneath the 2600 over there, there's another one. And then there's another ADAT module in the eurorack there. And then there's another ADAT module down here. So they're kind of precariously placed in various locations around the studio, little tiny studio that I've got here. And one of the cool things about it is that it means that every single one of those units has 8 inputs and 8 outputs. And I can group them as stereo, or I can have them as mono and pan them and all that sort of stuff. It's got Midas preamps. They're not the greatest, like Behringer don't make the greatest, you know, high quality gear in the world, but I have to admit, I've had those first 2 ADAT modules are probably getting close to about 5 years old and they haven't blinked. So, you know, Not bad for a, when you think about it. The nearest competing product is the Focusrite that do a similar thing, and that's double the price. So the nearest product that will do an 8-in, 8-out module is Focusrite. Can't remember what it's called, Opti Pre or something like that. And it does at double the price, and it's probably better, but you know, that's probably subjective. Now, why is this a thing? Because what it does is it gives me the opportunity when you're in a DAW like this to route the audio as you want. So let's say I want to, you can see here, I've got audio coming in through my Expert Sleepers, right, ES8. And then I can route that to an external out anywhere. I've got all these external outs that I can route it to, individual channels or stereo channels if I want to. So if I do it to that one there, even though it's not labeled yet, I haven't got to that stage yet, labeling these things in the software. But that I know is my Akai Force, right? And I was showing Brooksy this before, but I'll just show you guys now. Like if I start, I'll just go back to master. If I start Eurorack, so there you can see the Eurorack is working nicely there, right? Okay. If I route that to external out, and we'll go up here to that one, you won't hear it, okay? Because it's going into my Akai Force. But if I actually press record on my Akai Force, I'm actually capturing a clip now in Akai Force, and I can mute any channel I want, which is really cool. And you can do it with any, it doesn't have to be Akai Force or anything like that. You can do it with anything. Now I'll just show you guys how that works, right? So if I mute that channel, so there's no more Eurorack playing, but if I start like a beat in Akai Force like this, right, you can hear Akai Force beating, and I'll put like a, I don't know, right, a sound there, right? So you can see that's Akai Force, and I'm just playing it down here, right? Now, that little thing that I just recorded is over here. Here we go. There it is. That's a clip playing. It's no magic, you can hear it stop and then it will start again, right? So there you go. That is the cool thing about what you can do when you've got digital audios and inputs around your studio. And the reason why, and a lot of people ask me, why did you go ADAT? Why didn't you go with just like an audio interface with 32 inputs? Because they take up heaps of room, and I can scatter these around, and I can just connect them with optical fiber, and I don't get any electrical interference at all with optical fiber because there is no conductive, no radio frequencies to interfere with it, and I don't get any ground loop noise or anything like that. So there's your reason.
That's really interesting. I mean, I've never done anything with ADAT. I mean, which model is the Behringer one that you've got? It's
an 80A 8200. They're all three of them are, and
yeah, just brought it up now.
They're really cheap. They're really cheap.
It was that one. Yeah, 200 quid. 200 quid in the UK.
It's a no-brainer. Yep. They've got they're very basic. They've got very little. You know, there's a little bit of configuring on the back for the sample rate. You can sync it. You can have it as a master. You can have word clock, all that sort of stuff if you want to. But the connections are actually really good. Like I said, it's Midas preamp. You've got proper XLR connections on the back and on the front. So just so you guys know, for example, how I'm doing this show, this is actually pretty interesting. So how I do this show, I had to actually reconfigure my studio when I brought this module. If I go back to here, you can see that I use Total Mix by RME, right? I've actually got a physical connection that goes from the back of that ADAT module from Behringer into my audio interface, which is on the PC that I use to stream with. So there's like a little stereo XLR going in. And if I start Eurorack again, right, actually I've got it. There you go. So you saw it all just light up there. So that channel there, let's do the old Mac trick again. that is the back of my ADAT module there. And that is going into my audio interface on my Windows PC, which I do the streaming from. I should stop this, sorry. You guys are going to get annoyed with that sound over and over and over again. Welcome to Clips, your friend of loop. Yeah, so the whole point of that is it just, it gave me like, complete flexibility in terms of this space. And I can move them to wherever I want, because you can run pretty decent long lengths. Like I've got a 5 meter length SPDIF cable, SPDIF, from basically the RME thing is right down in front of me here, and it goes all the way over to that ADAT module in the back corner there. So it's about 5 meters of SPDIF. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Is anyone sort of, do people like it when I talk about this sort of crap, or is it kind of boring? Not sure.
I'm interested, certainly.
I'm quite fascinated by it, actually. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said, I've never done anything with ADAT. Yeah.
It's always good
sounds
to hear how
ideal
people
solution.
route the studios or.
The interesting thing about the RME Digiface, right, is the price, right? You guys will be blown away how cheap these things are. Like, so these are Australian dollars.
Yeah.
695 Australian dollars. So halve that for pounds. I don't know what they are in the UK, Ian. But
RME Digiface as well.
yeah. So one of the things that it claims that it's 66 channels. Technically, it probably is, if you include the headphones and a few other things. But it does it does use USB 2, and a lot of people are thinking, "Wow, what USB 2? That's old." There's actually some really good research on why USB 2 is actually still completely capable for what this needs to do. So if you're ever wondering, go watch the video. RME put it out. They explain it really, really well. If you're an IT geek, you'll enjoy it.
268 quid here.
Wow, that's cheap. And all you need is just a couple of ADAT modules around. Like if you've got one of those 88, 8200s lying around, you can just plug that up and you've already got 8 inputs, 8 outputs. Or if you've got, like in my case, I've got an Expert Sleepers Eurorack module, right? And that is, I don't even know what the connectivity of that, 4 out, 8 in or something, 16 out, I don't know, there's something crazy, whatever it's got. And that's got ADAT. You've got a choice. You can use that module as a USB type interface, or you can use the ADAT side of it. And depends on how you plug it. So if you've got the USB cable connected to it, it defaults to USB class compliant audio. But if you just plug the ADAT into it, it knows, hey, I've got ADAT. So it's sending light pipe stuff out. It's really, really smart. And so that means I can route my Akai Force, for example. I can route the audio of that into eurorack. And then I've got clips launched from Force. Then I can put them through modulations, effects, any of these eurorack modules that I've got in here. And then bring it all back in and resample it if I want to as clips. So when you think about it, the routing is just infinite. It's crazy good. The big benefit too is makes life easy is this piece of software here called Total Mix. It's free when you get it. It comes with most of their gear, by the way. It is super, super cool. So that helps you immensely. One of the big issues that people have with computers and audio interfaces is the loopback side of stuff. You know what I mean by loopback?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you may have a brilliant mixing console that's got a USB connection, but it doesn't have loopback in it. So you can't record itself. It can't record the computer or the DAW, or if you want to sort of stream what you're doing, you've got to come up with some sort of rudimentary software hack or something to get around it. RME's loopback is all built in, and you can route the loopback to however you want. So like I was telling you before, I've got the audio going from the DAW straight into the back of that 88, 8200 module into another computer. So it's insane what you can do. It's basically infinite.
RME have always been really good with their software.
Yeah.
Since the early days, they were always ahead of the game.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, they are.
Can I ask a really stupid question? Well, because I'm basically stupid with this sort of thing. I don't know.
I can still hear you, but
Oh,
here we go.
Oh, it's okay. It's just a glitch. Right. Just that Behringer module, or those Behringer modules that you've got.
Keep talking.
I don't know, what was that?
That was me.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Keep talking.
I can't remember what I was going to ask now.
Brooksy, there you go. You got the floor. The module that I've got, the Behringer modules, the 88, 8200. Yeah.
No, I've completely forgotten what it was I was going to say. Go on.
That's all right.
You're
You'll
on the branch, that one.
Go back to where you were.
Probably.
I don't know. There's this whole thing about DC coupled. Someone asked me in chat, are they DC coupled? I don't know. I don't think so. I think if you want DC coupling, then you got to go right up to like the MotU ones. I think they're DC coupled. So that's getting into some sort of weird stuff. I don't really need to DC couple though, because I'm only needing to DC couple if you want to record CV, right? And I don't really need to do that because I've got plenty of stuff I've got here in my Eurorack that can do that. And anyway, if I wanted to record CV, I can just use the Expert Sleepers module as a USB module, take the 88 cables out and run it as an audio interface, and that's DC coupled on its own right. So there's more than one way to skin a cat in that sense. So if you are going to go Eurorack, you've got to probably have a lot of guys I noticed, with their Eurorack, they probably come out of Eurorack as maybe a main mix and then into their audio interface, and that's kind of how they record. So I kind of do that as well, but I have got the option to record multiple different channels if I want to. I don't think I'm at the sort of stage where I want to have every single audio module as a separate channel. I think that's starting to get a bit stupid. Because I don't really think that's what you need to do at Eurorack land. I mean, some people might, but I don't really think it's needed. So for me, if I wanted to do that, I'd probably just have to create like clip recordings and just mute the things that I don't want to record at the same time, and then it'll be a bit painful, but so what? I mean, it might take an extra 20 minutes, to do something if it's a 3-minute track. But yeah, if you're wanting to stem everything individually because this is going to be a number one hit and you want it to be, brilliantly recorded, then you probably wouldn't be doing it in your crappy little home studio anyway, would you? So, do you know what I mean? So,
well, one of the things I don't get about one of the things I don't quite get about the whole recording CV in your Eurorack thing is half the time your CV is in several different places. What you really need is like a wireless CV cable that can record any CV from anywhere in your patch into a computer. I don't quite see how I don't think we've arrived at the place yet where CV recording is that mature. So that's why I kind of don't really rate the whole sort of, you need to be able to record CV, otherwise you're not exploring the full potential of. No, I don't mean recording CV into your rack like you do, Rance, because that's completely obviously cool. I meant the more sort of recording it to a DAW type situation, unless you've got a real random access, I guess, to the different patches in different places, and not ahead of time. I mean, how can you plan that kind of thing it's spontaneity for one thing. So I think until you've got like until we've got like wireless patch cables that can transmit data. When you think about it, that isn't totally outrageous. When you think about what we can do with Wi-Fi and wireless devices, and now it's just the expense is probably the thing that's holding that back. But that's
it's
an
a slight
interesting
quality issue, though, isn't
there. Sorry,
if you're going to,
sorry, Ian?
there's a slight quality issue, isn't there, with Wi-Fi at the moment? I know that it's got things have got better, but I still think there are issues about the quality.
Well, yeah, I
of
can't
transmitting
quality of connection. Well, I think there's definitely
And
an
we won't
issue
go-
with live
was gonna say-
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh well, I was going to say
Ableton.
let's not go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not
But,
talk. Let's not talk about the latency issue, which nobody's solved yet. Really.
Yeah. I guess what I was more imagining was a system whereby it's capturing all those CVs without you having to pre-plan what you're capturing, and then you can kind of play back the session later on, and it doesn't really matter how quickly or it's going to transmit it wirelessly to the thing that you're capturing it to. You just wait for it to finish, and then you've got a big thing on the screen. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm saying, I guess. It's kind of like a more advanced version of it, but sort of cuts out that whole sort of, I don't like MIDI. It's too low resolution.
I don't do it with CV, but I mean, all the stuff behind me is connected to a Model 24 Tascam, and everything is recorded. So sometimes there'll be nothing on the channel, but when I'm, if I'm doing I like to sort of jam things before and then put them into a DAW later. So I'll record everything. So I'll record all of the synths that I'm going to be using, and then leave it for usually a couple of weeks, come back to it, listen to it with fresh ears, and then start to sort of piece things together and mess things around. And sometimes there'll be a whole track which has just got nothing on it, but because the synth was live and I might have used it, and that sort of helps my spontaneity. To be honest, I don't have to think. I need to. I switch everything on. Everything's up to a certain level, and it would be nice to do that with CV and with modular. And
how many
stuff
tracks
like
does that Tascam give you?
It gives me 20. It says it's 24. It's not really 24 like all of these, mixer. It's got an audio interface as well, which is crap, but I don't use that. It gives me 22 on an iPad, because I do sometimes do stuff with the iPad as well.
Right.
See, so the thing for me
quite
is,
a lot.
if you were to,
yeah, and they're not expensive. It's 700 quid, something like that.
if you were looking at
CV,
right?
Sorry.
I just want to grab this point before it disappears, because Ian, we do need to go down on that little route, because I think it's important. But just the point about CV, the analog purists in Eurorack will probably absolutely say no when it comes to anything that's been digitized with control voltage. It has to be an electron traveling down a cable, generated by an analog op amp or whatever it is that's generating it, the LM322As or whatever they are. It has to be that. Otherwise, you might as well just go MIDI, or you might as well just go back into a DAW and forget about the whole world. Look, I don't really care, to be honest. Like Ian said, I think we've just got to sometimes we've got to become less confuddled with our setup and just go, just get on with it. Like, let's just make something and record it, and whatever you've got, just try and just press record and to see where that takes you. Because I kind of feel like when I was doing things during the week this week and I was making some changes in here, I thought to myself, I don't want to make too many changes in here that will just completely rejig the way I do my job in here, my little hobby, because then I'm going to find myself getting frustrated and I won't get any actual music done. Do you know what I mean? Like, so we can't make too drastic changes to our setup, because that will just put a massive gap or hole into our music production. Brooksy, you know what I mean by that, don't you? Because when you started that Eurorack journey, you kind of did a few sort of iterations, didn't you, with your gear, right? And your music production has evolved as a result, you know.
In terms of actually producing any music that's worth chucking out into the world, not an awful lot of me on my own. What's happened in here really is that everything's focused now there, really just that rack at the top, and it's about performance. It really is about putting something together to actually play it live, and that's far more interesting to me than actually anything else, really. Although I obviously I am intrigued about recording, because at the minute all I do is if I've got something worthwhile, I just record it down in stereo. I don't even think about stemming out, which I should really. If I'm going to take that serious, I should. Which brings me back to what I was going to ask, because it sort of popped back into my head what it was. You need the Behringer unit, and you need an audio interface that will receive ADAT. Is that right? You need two different things.
Yeah.
You can't just have that Behringer unit and plumb it into your computer.
Yeah.
That's two bits of expense to make that work. That's quite a chunk then. Even though that Behringer 19-inch rack module might be, that is an expander to an interface that you already have.
Correct.
That's what I was trying to get.
Yeah.
Right. That's clarified it in my head. But that RME thing will allow you to plug 4 of those Behringers in.
Or for any brand,
right?
or ADAT.
For any brand with ADAT.
Yeah.
And that Behringer has 8 inputs on 8 analog inputs that you can plug in, and it can be its own little thing.
Yeah.
Like a little mixer.
Yeah.
Right, now it's coming clear
and
in
outputs.
my head.
And outputs.
And outputs. No, because I'm just looking at this thing that I've got here. This is, I don't think this has ADAT on it. It doesn't. Right, but yeah. Inputs and outputs, right?
Yeah.
It is becoming clearer in my head what that is and how it works and why you've done what you've done. Cause it was just a puzzle. I'm trying to go, how does this work? What you do? I've got it now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ready to make that jump yet, though.
I mean, Andy, for a long time when I was doing EMOMs and stuff, I would do exactly what you're doing, which is just take a stereo output. You know, so I mean, I put an album out of that stuff, and you know, I was able to tweak it a little bit, but basically there were just stereo files at the end of the day.
What it is.
You got the live recording. You know, what I've done the last couple of times is I bought that Zoom R16, which gives me eight live inputs. The whole purpose of using that, I'm using it like a mixer live, but I am recording my performance. Yeah. With the idea that I might obviously put it out properly at some point. And that's, you know, so something like that where you can multi-track and it sort of works as a mixer, a live mixer on stage. Because let's face it, at these EMOMs, the guy on the mixing desk just wants the stereo out.
Yeah.
No, they don't want to mess around.
They don't care about the other stuff. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
You know.
So and also it's your problem too, Ian. It's your problem, isn't it, to get all the EQ right, and you don't want to have it too doofy because it'll blow the subs in the club, and and that's a nightmare in its own right too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because all they'll do is they'll just EQ the whole mix down, and then your performance might sound thin or muddy or something. So Yep. And a lot of Eurorack gear doesn't have EQ in it. I mean, my Mix BX, let me show you guys that actually. The little Mix BXs are pretty cool. Andy, you can tell me about yours, because I actually can't remember yours either. But do they have...
No, it's got no EQ.
No EQ? Okay, good.
No, there's no EQ.
That was my question. No. Good. So the Mix BXs do have a little EQ on them. And that's just the top 2 white coloured... You've got the low and the high, and that actually is probably all you need at Eurorack level, because it's these are based on the BX Boss mixes of the 90s, by the way. So that's the circuit of these. But that's probably all you need to sort of shape a little bit of frequencies in or out, high or low, right? you probably like if you wanted to get sort of more anal about your EQing, then you're in the wrong sort of world. You go into a proper mixing console that way. Yeah. And you could lug a mixer to your gig, but it's more stuff to lug, like mixer in one amp, eurorack another.
I can't be asked with that. No.
Yeah,
see, that's
biceps
the
like
thing with what Ian's saying. It would be another box I have to take and set up.
Well, I've used those
what Andy Synthetic said. Sorry, Ian. What Andy Synthetic said earlier about the bit box, actually being able to record everything in the bit box, or at least just recording a stereo stem into that, is actually really quite a nice thought. I hadn't worked that one out. So, sorry, Ian. Go on, Karen.
I was just going to say that all I did was for quite a few times is take one of those cheap Behringer mixers. You know, the little sort of desktop mixer things. You know, 4 channels or 6 channels or whatever they are. You know, but you're right. It's another bit of kit that needs to be plugged in. Takes up a power supply. You know, they don't work on batteries, so it's yeah.
A little alto one.
Oh yeah.
It's just 6 inputs. I don't take it to gigs at the minute, so it's just there.
No, it's one more thing to think about, though, isn't it?
Yes.
You know?
Don't whinge too much. Just have a little thought for drummers.
Yeah.
Why?
I had a friend in the 90s that I used to give him a bit of a hand. So when I was in this band in the 90s, I used to be the nerdy guy that played backup rhythm guitar. I had a synth and I had a mixing console. So basically the band, I was like the audio engineer of the band, right? I had to do all the nerdy stuff, and they would like scream at me if shit wasn't going down properly. Like I'm like, you know, did you plug your cable in properly? Your Pratt, you know, like that sort of stuff would go on. But every now and then I feel sorry for this guy who was the drummer, and he would like lug these drums, and you know, and we had like the guitarist would just like take a guitar. The singer would just rock up with nothing. You can see him coming here, right?
Of course, I used to lug the drums around.
So you know, right? You know what it's like.
Yeah, so I know what it's like. Yeah. And I was only
no one helps
15
you
at the time.
And no one helps you. The guitarist and the singer, they'll just off they go. They don't care. You have to get them in the car yourself.
It is the same for keyboard players though as well.
Not much though. We just love a little synth under our arms.
Well, back in the day, I used to carry around a twin manual organ and a synth and a digital piano, you know, an early digital piano. And literally, the organ was so heavy, it used to take 2 hours to lift it. It all folded up. It was a Farfisa Compacture thing, a twin manual job with its own amp. So those gigs were hardcore, you know, really.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Just think of the poor guy I had to carry around as well. It's a
exactly yeah,
absolutely.
What are these wonderful chatties people saying? They're talking about different kind of mixes, I think, and different kind of options. Don't know what Synthetic's up to there. ARQ48 has more controls and features that are both nightmare to use. I don't know what that is. The Motu 2408 Mark II with 3 8-out ins and outs. Yeah, see, Keith, I was talking about the Motu stuff. If you can afford the Motu stuff, I think we had Ken Flux with it on here about a year or so ago, and he got his little studio set up with all Motu stuff, and he swears by it because he can go in and configure it through an app, and it's similar to the RME. The RME does their own ADAT stuff as well, but I just can't afford it. It's like pricey as hell. So Motu is probably cheaper, but you've got, where do we go? Look at all the RME stuff, all the interfaces you can got, you know, AVB, Dante, you know, it's crazy what you can do. So you don't have to go ADAT. If you've got money, you probably don't want to. You probably want to go something else like AVB or Dante or something like that. It's still a digital way of transmitting audio around, and it's not going to get the issues with the old-fashioned cables, that's for sure. But yeah, Motu's good. I was going to get the Motu one up, actually, because I do like it. I do rate them. Has anyone else had experience with Motu stuff?
I've used them in studios. Thought
Yeah.
they were really good.
Yeah.
Never owned any, but
I've got some MIDI. What do you call those MIDI, like rack-mounted MIDI things, like MIDI patch bass?
Patch bay?
Yeah.
Is it MIDI Express?
Yeah, the 16 one or whatever it is. Yeah, that's the one I've got. I don't even know where to look. Whoa, look at this massive website. Where to go here, guys? I'm proverbial. What was the one that Keith mentioned? 2408. Is it an M series? No, I think they've got
M6, did he say? They just released the M6.
They've just released a new product. Yeah. Let's try Studio. Maybe.
That looks a bit more familiar.
Yeah.
They're networking.
These ones, the 8 Pre-ES. I think this is similar to what Ken got. I can't remember if this is the exact one, but you'll see in a minute the connectivity on the back of these things. Yeah, so you've got the optical fiber here. So they've got 2 ins and outs, and then they've got their I think it's AVB they use by default, right? Or is it Dante? I forget. I think it's AVB. That's what Firewire. Gee, that's old. Why have they got Firewire in that thing? That's really old. That's bizarre. But yeah, there's some options.
And putting all the ins and outs on the back is a real pain in the neck because you have to use a patch bay, especially in the studio, unless you have it freestanding. Well, you want to put it. The idea is to put it in a rack. Yeah, it drives me crackers when they do that.
You just when you buy it, you have to buy a snake, right? And you've got to configure it all straight into the rack with the patch bay. Then you don't even have to touch it ever again. So, but if you ever have any issues with any of those plugs on the back, right, like the network or the opticals or anything like that, or even the analog, you may not have patched them properly. But yeah, you'd be pulling this thing out and pulling all the snake out. Yeah, it's a nightmare. We've talked about this before, but those DB connectors, I forget what they call them, for the big mixers, they've got those big like DIN type connectors, like a massive sort of.
DB25.
Are they DB25s? But they're like DB25.
They're probably more.
Yeah,
they're probably DB37s.
Yeah, whatever they are, but they are a much easier system to.
And the multi-core. The cables they used to call them multi-core. So
yeah.
Very commonly used in studios.
Yeah, that's a much easier way to get stuff around than like patch bays and snakes and that sort of stuff. Geez, I try to. Oh wow, the MIDI Express and the MIDI Express XT still around, Darren.
Yeah, I know. I was because I was. What was I looking at a while back or at the beginning?
Jeez, it looks the same
I think I was
too.
looking at that or was it the? Oh God, what were they called now?
That's what I've got.
God, my brain's going as well.
Yeah. I don't need that anymore though. I might actually sell that. I actually don't need that anymore because I've got the MRCC now. It's literally just sitting there getting dusty. I forgot about that. Yeah. Anyone want to buy?
Yeah, but what was the other one?
Express?
Oh, come on, tell me. No, it wasn't by iConnect. Remember iConnect, the big one.
iConnect.
Oh,
I've got one of them.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of them actually.
They're good. I can't remember what it's called though, but yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Is that the Kenton?
No, it's
well, there was. I mean, I've got a Kenton, but actually the Kenton's doing something different. But yeah, it's just an iConnect to do a 2-way and a 4-way, don't they? So a long time since it's sat in a drawer somewhere. Don't quite know
iConnect,
yeah. I got. Well, that's an old one.
That's the one I'm
that's an
thinking
old,
of.
but they do the audio.
That looks.
Yeah, they did the audio.
Yeah, mine's different to that though.
This is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, yours might be
the Mio XL.
Yeah, the Moog 2. That's it. Not Moog 2.
The Mio.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of.
The reason why,
this
is like the competitor to the MRCC because it's got DINs and it's got USB, and on the back you've got the same thing out, ins and out. This has probably got it's got an app that you can get with it that you can connect up, and it uses RTP. So that's actually huge, the RTP side of it, right? Because on the picture's gone, but there's actually a network cable on the back. Oh, it's on the front there. There you go. And that's actually really handy. So routing, if you've got like lots of MIDI stuff that you want to route in like fairly longer distances, you can use the RTP MIDI, and you know, you're not having to like massive long MIDI snakes going around your studio, which would be a nightmare. So for me, all I've got is just a 5 meter long USB cable that goes from the MRCC, which is over in the rack over there, back to the Mac. And I don't have to touch, because all the gear that I have that's connected to MIDI via either USB or DIN is over there. I don't have anything MIDI wise over here. I don't need to. So it just depends on your setup, right? It's the same thing with audio. MIDI is kind of like the same logic, right? MIDI is about controlling, and audio is obviously, you know, what that is. But when you do your studio setup, you need to think about it. Okay, well, if I'm just sitting at a desk and everything's in front of me, I don't really need to worry about this sort of stuff. But the bigger your studio space is and the more convoluted it gets, you got to start thinking about this stuff.
I'm lucky, see, it's not big, but it is convoluted.
That's what you say to all the girls, Darren.
That's only when I'm on the park bench.
Do I need to apply a ferrous, little cage to the USB cable? That's what's QID&K is asking. The one I've got already has it built in, so I would definitely recommend it, just because it does trap all those RF baddies that do like to travel up and down USB cables. I'm kind of culture of the ghost. I went from a deluxe mixer to a simple audio interface, to just having a simple audio interface. So I have, and I've still got it, it's in the corner, collecting dust. I've got a massive Presonus desktop mixer with lots of inputs and output. The only thing that's wrong with it is it's Firewire, and Firewire has dug a nasty grave for itself.
Yeah.
It's no more.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Firewire. Someone in 10 years' time will go, Firewire's awesome. Look at all this cool Firewire stuff, and then it's going to have a resurgent, and everyone wish they didn't chuck it in the skip.
Oh yeah, I hope not. Because some of the Firewire interconnects that I had were terrible.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
The problem with it was it didn't really take off, because USB was happening at the same time, right? So it just didn't really take off properly, and I don't know. There was a period where it was far more superior. That's for sure. There was a little sort of window of history.
Yeah, and USB 2 started coming out, and the bandwidth was getting bigger, so Firewire started to become a bit of a not much better. Plus, I always remember, didn't you have to? Well, at the early days, you definitely had to switch the item that was Wi-Fi'd on after your computer, I think. So it recognised
something
it.
like that.
I'm sure you had that issues on some other things.
One of the things I liked about it was with my previous Mac Mini that I had, because it had a Firewire and it had USB connections on it. So this is going to sound a little bit like geeky computer talk here for a sec, so just brace yourself, guys. Knowing a little bit about how USB controllers and Firewire controllers work in the IT world, I knew that if I had a mixing console that was running digital audio through Firewire, I was never going to get any connection issues if I had a whole bunch of USB stuff plugged into it, because it's a separate chipset on the motherboard of the computer. And so it talks through the PC CPU with its own bus lane, basically. So it's never going to get convoluted with any sort of data flow with the USB stuff. So it's like literally, it was the cleanest solution. So a lot of people at the time, when I had my Mac Mini bought, which was like 2010 or something like 2009 or whatever it was back then, right? A lot of people were saying, don't get Firewire, it's going to go. I knew that, but I thought to myself, this computer's going to last me 10 years, which it did. and having the mixing console running on Firewire, I never had any problems at all. Never had any clicks, pops, nothing. It was just beautiful. So sometimes there's good things for it.
Oh yeah.
So that brings
while we're just having a moment.
That brings up a good point, Darren, because if you've got every single thing plugged into a computer and it's all running on USB, how many USB chipsets are sitting on that motherboard? It might just be one chipset running everything, right?
Yeah, well, it's going to start bottlenecking.
Yeah. What were you going to say anyway?
I was just going to say, yes, talking about just plugging something in, just into your mixing desk or whatever. I thought, because Ian would be interested in this, I think. I thought yesterday or the day before, I'd just do a track with our old circuit, basic circuit as well. So it's even got the original presets. It's not got any pack on it, and just that, and a box. But can't get that out. So basically, other than some samples of atmospheric stuff, a box, and them two. I just thought, what not? I'll do a track.
What's that grey thing?
What's the box, Darren?
That
you're purposely not showing.
You're not showing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're being deceptive.
Box, yeah.
Darren's deceptive.
It is. Yes. So I just thought I'd do a track where tomorrow with that. Just those two things. Like I say, some atmospheric stuff. So Ian might like this because it's just the circuit basically. And it's how can I say it? It's very sort of, I don't know, it's a bit film scorey. Not pushing it as a film score, but if I could describe it in any way, I'd say it's sort of like that.
I'm intrigued.
But that was just no quantization either. It was just basically overdubbing the stuff as a single, each single track, putting it in as I come up with the idea. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that because I know Ian likes his circuit now. So it wasn't sort of written based on circuit. I was just using the circuit as sound source.
Darren refused to show his box. But hey.
People will be scanning back now trying to work out what it was because I may it says on the back of it.
Now, I don't usually highlight my own comments, but that one was worth it.
Although it is at the moment, this is taking all my time.
Show that again, because just in case people didn't see it properly. The organelle.
Does everybody know?
Go up.
Yeah, that's
up.
Sorry.
There we go.
Whoa, there we go.
Too high, a bit down a bit. There you go. Nice.
Or if I could tell where the camera was, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right there, right in front of your face.
Yeah,
beautiful. Good man.
It's much better looking than I am.
Are those Ian? Are those buttons?
Oh, you
buttons wooden?
Yeah, they're yeah, they are. Does it need to be wooden buttons? No, it doesn't really, because they're.
Were they etched by Tibetan monks in the Himalayas, or what's going on?
I'm sure they probably were. Actually, I have to say, I thought the build quality when it turned up was not as good as I expected. It's metal cased with very nice wooden buttons, but it's plastic. The bottom of it's plastic, and it's a fascinating bit of kit, really. I love the idea. The original reason I have been looking at it for a while. The original idea was I do quite a bit with Max MSP, and I know that they are looking at the possibility of an upgrade in the future of being able to do Max patches in it. You can't at the moment; you have to do pure data. And I think they're looking at Super Collider as well, which I've never ever looked at. But I love the idea of actually you're creating a synthesizer in Max or PD, and then just
Super Collider,
uploading it into that. Sorry,
Super Collider, definitely.
Super Collider, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. What did I say?
Yeah, you said that.
I said something.
Yeah, you said it correct.
Yeah. So, and I just love the idea. It can be anything, and it's a bit. It's done. Basically it's a music computer. And it's on Linux, and I did do some Linux probably 20 years ago. So it's like stepping back into a world that I've completely forgotten about to some extent.
I have just because I did that show a few months ago, which was a complete train wreck, where I was showing Linux for musicians. I reinstalled my Linux laptop with Debian, right, the other day. I reinstalled the whole thing, and geez, it brings back memories of the old days. It's a good thing, Linux. You need to.
I didn't really like it. I mean, I spent hours and hours bug fixing and fixing things and trying to sort. I mean, I have a couple of times back in the day built Linux computers, but it's not really my forte.
Yeah.
You know? But you really had to work hard at getting stuff to work, and I suspect I will probably find the same with that to some extent. Like, you know, but there's lots of people out there that have already made patches for it and they've been doing it for years. So you know, I'm late to the game really, but you know, I've had really good fun. Like I say, the one thing I connected to the Wi-Fi, which is the first thing you really have to do. And then I downloaded the Lyra 8 patch because I've always wanted the Lyra 8, but really, you know, I don't think I need to buy one now. I'd like to compare it to some extent, but it works like a Lyra 8 once I learn to and you have to. The problem with it is that every synth or instrument that you put into it is a new instrument and does something different on every button. So you have to learn it. So there is, you have to invest that time to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I can see, you know, some people will just not want to do that, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, the speaker's pretty good, although it's only the left channel, you know. I can take it on holiday with me, which is what I probably will do.
That's always a good
So you're
thing.
going to say something, Chris?
Does anyone remember these things? Patch blocks.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, these are little programmable. You program in a similar language to Pure Data, but it's a visual. So I guess that's Pure Data.
Yeah,
it was done by a German guy. It's just it was one of the very early sort of lithium battery based, you know, ARM32 DSP synthesis module, which had that kind of first community of people who were making patches and sharing modules and stuff like that. I got into it quite heavily, and then it was subsequently shut down. The rumor was that it was actually bought out by Behringer, and then proceeded to disappear into the dark graves of history past. Yeah. And since then, of course, there's a whole lot of really cool DSP-based, you can program yourself type environments now for both for eurorack. I've got to build my Beffico Link, which is that's a DSP-based thing. Henrik put me onto that, JX3D. So you get them in eurorack and yeah, but they're going to come up more and more of these completely open source sort of programmable synths in various different packages, and they're just getting more and more powerful. So it's pretty cool.
I mean, I think that's probably
going to be cool.
I think that's probably our next big thing, isn't it? A major synth manufacturer who actually, you know, yes, it's got a synth engine built into there, but there again, you can put PD or Max MSP or something like that into it, and it's got a keyboard and all, you know, a proper keyboard, not for little wooden buttons. I have to say, I've never been fond of these sort of button type keyboards ever. You know, there's too many of them really. But that's, you know, I think that's coming. Might be 5 or 6 years away, but somebody will come out. Be Roland, maybe. Well, we're going to say, would it be Roland? Might not be Yamaha, but you know, maybe Korg, somebody like that. Somebody, you know, reasonable sized manufacturer. I mean, Korg have already, to some extent, played with that with the mini log, didn't they? Where you could change the oscillators, put your own oscillators in. They made that open season, didn't they? But to actually be able to, you know, completely swap out the whole synth engine.
So was the NTS one as well, wasn't it? The Prolog, the mini log, the NTS.
The little one,
yeah. Yeah, that was a good idea. I still haven't got one yet. I've been meaning to get one, but I just haven't got around to it. Actually, I was going to ask you, Ian.
NTS2.
Speaking of Korg, this is completely impromptu. Do you know why you can't get any APC minis anywhere in the world?
APC minis?
These things. You got it wrong way. These things. You can't get them anywhere in the world.
Because YouTube is doing live streaming and taking them all.
These things.
All right. No.
No?
No.
Controlling my show from
no,
I want to get another one. And I can't get one anywhere. There's literally none in stock. I mean, there might be some idiot on eBay selling it for like 3 times the normal retail price. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth that much.
I mean, I know that we've had stuff. I mean, from Korg, we've had stuff on order for most of this year. I was looking back at when we actually ordered things like we ordered some synths that they've literally been out of stock all year. And I had a word with Luke Edwards, who's the Korg demonstrator for UK at Synthfest, and he said that it was the drum log. We're talking about the drum log, and the drum log. They're still saying the end of the year, but I'm saying to people that next year, don't expect it anytime soon. Really.
Okay.
I mean, I have no proof on that.
It's probably the chip shortage.
The reality is, it is the chip shortage. I mean, and actually, Luke said to me, he said the chip shortage seems worse now than it was when it all kicked off. You know?
Yeah, there are some on Amazon, but they're more expensive. There are some on Amazon, but they're like, if you looking at Australian dollars, they're about $100 more than what you can normally get them for. And I'm just gonna, it's not an urgent thing, but I just want a second one.
I mean, certainly the Korg Kronos was discontinued because of the chip shortage.
Yeah,
and that was the only reason. And they brought out the Nautilus, which is now their flagship, and it's not the same instrument. Doesn't have the Karma engine and all that sort of stuff. So, anybody out there, look at if you're going down that sort of workstation thing, look at a decent second-hand Kronos 2. It's probably the way to go, really.
Yeah.
Because it's got a lot more going for it, and this, it's got a Poly 6 engine in it and all that sort of MS-20 engine.
Yeah. Now, I completely forgot, but someone in the chat ages ago said, "Where's the Akai Force in my studio?" It is right there.
Yeah.
Right next to my hand, there. Because I actually want it to be a lot closer to where I used to have it. Where I used to have it, I was hardly even touching it. So now it's back to where I want it to be. And this is my style of music production. I like to record little sample clips. Let's not talk about this like a sampler, because really it's more just an arranger, right? It's a clip. It's little recordings of clips and arranging them. That's really what this does. And it does it brilliantly. Yes, I could use Ableton to do this, but I want to do this way. This is what I want to do. Little blue ARP sitting over in the corner. Everyone likes Rocky Road. There you go. Yeah, so that's where that is. And if I can get the camera to... I'll just go to you guys again. I'll get the camera to move across the other side. You don't want to see the back of my head. It literally is the back of my head that I have to do this to. And then we go to just next to my other hand. People like to know what's going on in these shows. It's a little bit dusty, but there is the Akai Force MPC Mini, right? Akai Force is next to my other hand. And if I'm to pan this little studio tour for you guys, if I'm to pan this, and you will see there's my eurorack right next to that. See? So literally this is my computer desk here. I'm sitting here. This is where all my mess and everything is here, right? Eurorack's not far from me. I can zoom out a little bit for you guys. Eurorack's there. Always good to look at gear, isn't it? Hey? And then further over, I've got some more gear here. I've got the 2600. This little corner here, I kind of change all the time. I've got stuff happening all the time here. At the moment, it's like Moog Fogers and I'm doing something with the Octatrack soon, so that's there. And then over here is my other sort of area. There's gear all over the floor there. Sorry, the camera's being a bit weird because it's actually tilted. And then right over here, what have I got there? Some more synths, and I've got more synths below. Like I can't make the camera go down anymore. You can just see the tops of them there. Yeah. So yeah. And then you can press magic buttons like this, and it goes back to where you were. I always love doing that.
Ooh, 70s crash zoom.
Yeah. Don't get this.
Like a ride, that wasn't it? That's great.
Yeah.
Just one more thing on the Korg stuff. It cropped up again. This rumor that the Op6 is discontinued, and it was sort of hinted at by one of the videos on Sonic State. He did a sort of drop in at the Bristol. I can't remember the name of the shop. Anyway, Nick sort of hinted at the fact that the Op6 was discontinued. I actually emailed Korg and said, look, is it going to be discontinued? Because there is this rumor out there, and we know where it started. It started in America, I think, because they and the confirmation I got back is that the Op6 is not discontinued. There's plenty of stock in the UK, don't know about anywhere else. But what happened with the USA Korg distributor, or Korg USA, is that they did a deal with Reverb, which meant that they could pump them out really, really cheap, just in the USA. But that made people think that they were actually about to discontinue it, but it's not. So it's just to put that to bed, really.
Yeah, I don't think they would be in their interest to discontinue. I mean, technically, the product hasn't actually even reached its marketing life yet. So, because usually with a product, Korg, knowing how Korg would work, or Roland, Yamaha would be the same. They would have the first year would be the product's inception, and it'll be getting out to market. It'll be and there's like a bell curve. There's like market introduction, market adoption. And then there's the mass, which of purchase, and then it will start heading over to the other side of the bell curve where purchases and sales will start to drop off. And that's when, at that point, they'll start to go, right, maybe we'll stop making them because they're not selling enough. But that's usually like minimum of second to third year. Minimum.
Oh, yeah. And to be fair, Korg have always been really good at sort of giving us forewarning. They'll tell us at least 6 to 8 months in advance that a product's going to be discontinued.
Yeah.
Because and then what they start to do is, once they start to run out of stock, they start to do that's when they start to discount it to dealers. They'll say, "Oh, it's going to be, we've got more shipments coming in, but after this date, it's going to be technically discontinued." So and then they obviously start punting out right at the end just to get rid of the stock, really, and then you see the price drop massively. So it was a thing, obviously, that happened in America. We don't really know why Korg USA did it. But it's obviously created this sort of, because it keeps cropping up every so often.
Yeah. Well, it gave me a rant.
And in fact, I did actually message Nick back and say, "Hey, Nick, really, I know you think this is the case, but it's not true." And he was glad to know, really.
Beautiful. Well, I mean, yeah. Hey, if you ever do find out what's going on with the APC, I mean, other than chip shortage, I mean, obviously that's probably the reason. But if you can find ones, maybe let me know. See if there's one sitting around somewhere, because I need it for. I probably should have moved the camera a bit more. Next to my Force, just to the left of it, is a little Novation Launchpad Mini, right? Just a tiny little thing.
Yeah. I've got one of them.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I'll show you guys.
There,
that thing.
Just
unplug it for
Mark
a second.
1 and Mark 2. I
got the Mark 1. You don't really need. There's no difference between the Mark 1 and the Mark 2. I think the Mark 3's definitely got some new features on it, but what I miss with the Launchpad is you've got it's kind of like menu diving in a way. It's not too bad, but you've got to press. You got to remember what buttons are unless you've got a label on it, and then if you want to change like the volume, you've got to press button 8 and then press A or B, and then it shows you like these LED, bar graphs of the volume. But you only get like macro controls of volume, because it's each of the pads is a step in the volume, right? So you can't do a volume change from that to that anywhere in between. So whereas with the APC Mini, it's literally a MIDI controller slider. So you can, it's just handy. And plus the APC Mini has all the labels on it. So if you want to slide your Ableton grid across to the right, to the left, up, down, it's got the little arrows already printed on the thing. Whereas the launch control, I'll show you guys again. Launch control, let's talk English, has no labels on it at all. And you have to remember, which is not hard. It's not hard to remember because it's, once you start using it. But you have to remember, like, that 1 is up, 2 is down, 3 is left, 4 is right. Hey, like, how are you going to remember that?
Well, I used to use it. I've been known to use it live, and I used to have to literally have little, almost cue sheets saying, what buttons I had to press.
Yeah. In the new one, I think they've actually got little, like, decal printing on it. And I think the reason why they didn't is they weren't originally just going to make it for Ableton. I think they wanted to make it for other DAWs, but I don't think that ever happened. I think the only one that kind of came on early was Reason or Fruity Loops. I think Fruity Loops might have come on as well. But they never got into Cubase and it was kind of like that's what they planned, and that's why they didn't put decals on it. So they were going to sell like what do you call those things? The overlays. They were going to sell overlays that you could buy for them, but it never happened. And there's people that hack these now. So so APC completely unrelated. And my show's crashed again. Has it?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, we're back. We're back.
Yeah. You know what that might
I
be?
think you all froze there for a minute.
Oh, I do have some news. Okay, so you guys know that I've been having issues with my internet. And this show, by the way, is not using the internet that I had trouble with. It's using my home internet. So that's probably why I'm getting all these glitches. So I had a contact with this company that was providing me the internet, and they are suggesting that we go fiber here, and I don't have fiber out the street. So I don't know how they're going to do that. But anyway, apparently they've discovered that there's a fiber cable running down my street. And I don't know.
Welcome to the joys of the NBN.
Yeah.
When did that happen? I don't ever remember some guy digging up the street. I've been here for 14 years. I don't remember ever the street being dug up and putting... Anyway, so they've said that there's definitely fiber on my street, which there's not. But there definitely is, according to them. So I'm like, okay, let's go for it. Put the fiber in my... And when there's like some guy who's like... These company, they're based in the other side of Australia. So they're going to get on the phone and go, yeah, right, can you just provision the service in? They're going to go, there isn't any here, mate. It's like there's tumbleweed blowing down the street. That's the only way to get internet in this neighbourhood. It's going to be funny anyway. I'll let you guys know how that pans out, because this is going to be a really funny, couple of weeks. But I think it's their effort to try and keep me as a customer. That's retention, right? Customer retention. It's a big thing now, corporate. You get the retention department. Are you sure you want to leave? We'll give it to you for free, just so you don't leave.
I'll tell you what, though. You will be shocked if he does say, here's the fibre cable.
I will. I'll be like, how the hell did that get there? When did you do that?
In the middle of the night, Rant.
No, they must have they drilled like 400 kilometers away underneath the ground, very silently. Yeah. They started drilling from the UK. There it is, coming up the other side.
Haven't you got one of those big green boxes on the end of your road? Oh, they keep popping up everywhere, don't they?
The nodes. Yeah, don't talk to me about those nodes. They're shocking. Yeah. Is that what you guys did in the UK? You had that stupid... because in Australia, we had this thing where it was called NBN, right? What Chris was just mentioning before. National Broadband Network. And it was the government's birth child to bring fibre to everyone's house. And then they had a government change in the middle of this, right? And so the other government came in and said, oh, no, we can't afford to do that. We're going to like rip the pants out of this idea and save some money. And so what we'll do, instead of giving you fibre to the house, we're going to give you fibre to the node, which is literally useless. It's useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was called Last Mile here, wasn't it?
Yeah, the same thing.
Was
it?
Is it not? Is it not OpenReach? Or is OpenReach the people who? I thought it was called OpenReach. Aren't they all OpenReach?
They do the work here, certainly.
All right. Okay.
I don't know actually whether they're subcontracted or not, but they always do the work. Whenever there's a problem with, we're on BT, British Telecom here, but OpenReach are always the guys that come and sort it out.
Most of the rural part of UK are.
They're a sub company, aren't they? What they call it?
Sub company.
They're a branch. Yeah. They're a branch of BT, aren't they? OpenReach, BT OpenReach.
I won't say who, but there's someone we all know that I was trying to help out get a better internet connection that lives down south. I don't mention names. And we found out the only company that provided that person with the internet was BT, and basically that's what that person had. So there's nothing you could do. We've got these things. I mean, you got them in the UK too, but it usually is around more populated areas like London and Birmingham or whatever. Like they have the fixed wireless things, right? Which are like usually smaller companies do this or that because they just have microwave towers everywhere, and that's what I had here, a fixed wireless connection, and it was pretty good until that company got bought out by this Eastern States company and said, right, now we are going to completely rape this network connection and put 40,000 more people on it. And now instead of you getting a really good internet connection, you're going to have basically dial-up. And I don't care if you don't like it. You can still pay the same amount that you were paying before we got bought out by someone else. That's exactly my story. And I'm like, you guys. But yeah. Luckily, I've got this second connection, so I wouldn't be having a show. Literally, if I went across to that right now, the show would literally be. This is how close I got to. I don't know if you guys know, but Nick runs Sonic State in the cloud, and so basically, he uses the same software as me. We've been using the software for years, both of us. So what he does is he creates an Amazon Web Service virtual computer in the cloud, right? And they're really cool now. They've got these NVIDIA graphics card engines built into them. So technically you could actually play games in the cloud with these. My computer's frozen again. Look at that. Hello. Look at me. Don't I look amazing? Come back.
Is that happy?
There we go.
There we go.
My computer's probably struggling.
5 seconds I counted it.
So in the cloud is this he's actually got his software sitting in the cloud, and he remotely controls it through various different things. Like there's remote web-based MIDI he controls it with, and also remote desktop sort of stuff as well that he accesses as the desktop through. I was that close to running this show in the cloud, so that basically it solves the internet problem. But the problem is with me is I use a lot of camera footage in here, whereas Nick doesn't. It's just Nick's face. If you watch Sonic State, he doesn't. When he does his review videos, he films them and he just uploads them, right? But he doesn't do reviews and demonstrations in Sonic State. It's mainly just he's got the people that are guests like you guys, and then he shows websites and videos, and that's it. And he can do all that in the cloud because he doesn't need to physically be where he is there, apart from his face. And for him to transmit his face across the internet only requires a very small internet connection, just like what you guys have got, what you're doing. So I can't do that with my show because my show is a different format where I demonstrate, I'm doing camera angles, I'm doing high quality 1080p I could do 4K if I wanted to, but I can't because the internet's not fast enough, but I could. That's the way I'm doing it. So even if I was to move my show to a virtualization system in the cloud, I still have to have a big internet connection to send that video footage up there, no matter what. So I might as well run it from here. So hopefully, maybe they will give me fiber. And Darren, like you said, maybe there was some guy sneaking in the middle of the night and putting fiber in our street. I don't know, but maybe it's going to come. Stay tuned for the 400th installation of the Ranzee's internet connection saga.
It's not the first time I've heard that story either, Rance.
Yeah, it's all over here, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of record keeping issues with NBN.
Oh, absolutely.
They're only coming back to haunt us now when people are kind of going in your situation when they want to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the emails that I've received from this company, they're really funny because it's like one of them said, click on this link and you can finish your application for connection. So I click on the link and then it said, I'm really sorry, but we don't have a service located at your house. Please contact us on this number.
Yes. Yes, that's not in the script. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Darren, you've got. I just noticed your website, not website, your YouTube channel is. What happened to the page I just had up on your YouTube channel? It's gone. Anyway, Darren, are you doing a video this week?
Yep, he is.
Yep, with the circuit runs.
Yeah. So that hasn't. Okay, so I must have misunderstood you. So that hasn't happened yet, is what you're saying?
No, that'll be tomorrow.
Okay.
2 or 3-ish UK time.
I am a bit slow. Do apologise. So that's that's his YouTube channel, everyone. It's in the link description below of this video, and also it's in the blog article as well as Ian's and Andy's, and also Brooksy's. So they're all their details are in there if you ever want to find out who they are. But yeah, watch Darren's YouTube channel tomorrow. What time, Darren? About 4 o'clock UK time, or
well, I might put it out a bit early. It might be 2, 3-ish, but usually it's 4. But I'll probably put it out a bit earlier, 2, 3-ish.
Okay.
At some point, because it's virtually ready.
Awesome. You're wondering why that shows that I haven't subscribed. It's because I'm actually not logged in. You can see that I haven't actually signed in. See, look.
It's trying to get
the secret's out, Ranzee. Yeah, the secret's out, Ranzee.
You're about to be unfriended, dude.
But look, give him some subscribers, please, guys. Come on, give him some subscribers.
Come on.
I know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Great. I can't believe that he hasn't got any more than that. Look at that.
That's because he doesn't smear himself all over social media, you see. He has integrity.
Yeah, that's true. It is basically only YouTube.
That is true.
And
see, Darren? It's not a lie. Look, I haven't signed in. See? It's not a lie.
I got told off by Lisa for spamming all the Facebook groups with the hardware jams stuff. So she told me off. Shameless self-promotion.
Well,
I just thought it was putting things up for people.
Who
to
told
see,
you off?
Apparently,
Sorry,
I'm shamelessly self-promoting.
Lisa.
Inky did.
Inky.
Oh, really?
Inky.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I played
stop over promoting
one of your.
Lisa.
I played one of your jams on this month's audiophile radio show, Andy.
I saw it. Yeah, thanks,
Darren,
Ian.
I played all 3 of your backwards tracks.
Yes.
All right. I've still got that on my podcast to listen to in the car.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
it's good. It's really,
they work really well
Yeah,
together.
we always enjoy those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glad to hear.
YouTube,
I liked them, actually.
YouTube that whole notification system on YouTube, I think it's broken.
Yeah,
it's going weird. It's definitely weird. Yeah.
Wagoose just said that he didn't get the thing, the warning.
Yeah,
I'll just
I only get them on my iPad. No, I mean I don't get them on my Apple computer. I don't get them on my phone. I only get them on the iPad.
I don't get any.
On the computer, they always, and they come late. You know,
Yeah, they come late or I don't get it. Yeah, yeah.
I had a notification for this an hour in. I was like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, I get that all the time for the show. Yeah,
get the bing while you're in the middle of a conversation.
Wouldn't it be funny if I did that? Where's Rand? He didn't get his notification.
He's not, guys.
Oh, sorry.
That's why I came on late.
Yes. Well, okay.
That's what you're telling us, Darren.
Bit of housekeeping. Reminder, everyone: 1 o'clock UK time, whatever that is, your local time. It's all a bit crazy right now with all the different daylight savings clocks. So you need to go work out what is 1 o'clock UK time. When you work that out, okay, for me,
Darren, that'll be 1
and
o'clock.
Chris, for me and Chris, because we live in the same city, that's 9 o'clock PM.
You wasn't there. He said 2 o'clock. I'm telling you.
He probably did.
That's
Knowing
true,
me, I probably did. I probably did. But
Ian.
it is 1 o'clock.
I did.
1 o'clock. The reason why we're
That's
doing...
why I can work out. But it's going to be later for him. I can't understand it. But you can say, no, it's not going to be late. I'll be fine.
The reason why we're doing 1 o'clock is because it is now 11:50 PM for Chris and I, and both of us are looking quite tired. Nothing against you, Chris, but it is late for us old 50-year-old farts.
No, I'm afraid I always look like this. I woke up like this. Pasty, white, middle-aged, typical synth nut.
Yep, that's us. In our 50s. Yep, we love it. Yes,
look at
so...
over 49, Chris.
yeah. Brooks is in for the compliments, eh? Yeah.
Well, I couldn't believe it when he said you were 50. And I meant that genuinely. When he said you were 50, I thought, God, bloody well preserved 50, if you don't mind me saying.
Hey, you guys are going into winter, so 1 PM UK time is the same as 1 PM GMT UTC, right? It's the same thing, isn't it?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Bloody clue. It's a clock. The clocks all say 1 o'clock.
1 PM
now.
UK
It just gets darker
in UTC.
It's darker in the morning and darker in the evening.
Yes. Who said that? Steve Ward, you're a legend. Steve Ward's correct. 1 PM UK time is also 1 PM UTC at the moment. It's the same time. GMC, whatever you call it, GMT, UTC, same thing, right? It's all the same thing. So UTC is the central clock of the world, right?
Okay.
It's GMC, right?
Well, that's from here.
But Greenwich Mean Time is what we go by.
Yeah, GMT, yeah.
Yeah.
But UTC is what the computers call it. So anywhere in the world, if you're going by UTC, it's at the moment it's 1 o'clock UTC. So work it out from there. If you're in the US, I know it's still sort of up in the air when your daylight savings have started or finished or whatever it is. It's just crazy. Try live in Australia where you've got some states with daylight savings and other states without it. And it's like, what the hell? Like 1 week you've got 2-hour time differences and then the next week you've got 3-hour time differences. And talking to the same person from the previous week.
Yeah.
It all works like clockwork.
Yeah. It's
Yay.
Now, the other thing is, as I mentioned before, we've got only 4 visitors that we can get in on the vMix call. I've looked at this before. We could probably do... I have never done a Zoom call into the show before, so there'll probably be some technical glitcheries that I'd have to do for that. But let me just have a quick look at this cost of this thing again. I was looking at it the other day. I was like, what? Are you serious? I could go to a perpetual license where I pay $50 US per month, and that would give me 8 callers. Yeah. I need to give them an extra $500 US, and I can have another 4 callers come in. That $500 US is forever, though. It's not just a year; it's forever. So.
Well, it's still a chunk of cash, that, Ranzee.
It's a chunk of cash. It's a synth I'd have to sell to do that.
Well, we would just take it. Take it in turns, cycle it round, and just say,
we can all,
we don't all have to be on every week.
Yeah.
Should we try the Should we try the Zoom?
I think we'll try the Zoom. We'll bring a
Well, got Zoom.
we'll bring a zoom into that bottom right-hand corner. We'll do that, and then get rid of me. Ian, you can take over. No,
Ranzee comes in as Zoom.
I'll come in via Zoom. Yeah. Sell the Timberwolf. That's a great idea. That's an excellent idea. I'll get $5 for
you
it.
put it on for $500 on whatever reverb site, and you could put your own scam in. That'd be brilliant.
Put my own scam in.
Hang on, Rance.
Kill 2 stones with one bird.
Rance, you're sitting on a gold mine there. I know you've got a VP08, and I know that people will pay a lot of money for one of those VP08s because they're so good.
They are really good. They are brilliant. Yeah, the polyphony on that thing.
I can't believe, and they're so rare.
I tell you what, sign it as well.
Yeah. Yep. Sign it. Put a sticker on it. Put some stupid sticker on
The
it.
wolf to the lowest bidder. Nice one, Tao.
Good on your Tao.
That's not fair. That means the person who would pay the least for it is going to end up with it.
There's the
That's
Timberwolf.
punishing
There.
them.
There it is.
Then we don't achieve anything.
Timberwolf. There it is. Hello.
Oh yeah.
Who wants it? $6 million for you. I'll put a patch on it for you, and then you go, oh, it's Ranzee's patch. It's worth some more now. You can actually save patch memory on it, by the way. I promise. I'll put a patch on it, and then I'll turn it off, and then it will be the last thing that did it. And you can never touch it ever again. All the knobs must stay where they are. In fact, if you want, I could super glue them in place.
Yes.
Did you hear about that guy that did that with the mixing desk? There was a meme. I think, Brooksy, do you remember that meme we did where we showed that mixing desk which was all super glued? It was hilarious. We should do a revisit the memes. You know how each week I've been asking what your favourite memes are each week. I have been keeping track. So at the end of the year, I'm going to do these are the favourite memes of the year.
Yep.
So it'll be.
We should have a whole
40 memes or
ceremony
whatever.
and everything.
Yeah.
We should have the Golden Beam Award.
I've got this folder on my computer which is called Old Memes. It's massive because it's like nearly 4 years worth of memes sitting in there. And we do, somewhere between 5 plus, 4 or 5 memes a week. Venture into my old folders. We should finish. Because the Timberwolf is, everyone's starting to think about buying Timberwolves now, and we know that's a bad thing. Do not do it.
No.
Yeah.
I'll say that. You won't sell yours. So, yeah. No, it's a great synthesizer. It's a wonderful synthesizer.
Everything
in the right hands.
I'm doing everything I can to warn people of this world to not buy a Timberwolf. In fact, if you want, I can actually do a product review, because I would probably be better than Dan.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, it's been awesome. Chris, nice to have you on. You are welcome back anytime.
Yes, nice.
Darren,
Thank you.
See you.
Darren, as always.
Thanks for making me welcome, everyone.
Darren's always the reason why the
Pleasure.
show
Nice to
is
see you.
actually popular, by the way. If anyone ever wants to know, they all come here to see Darren.
What isn't popular?
It's
It's not popular at all. There's what?
that reminds me. I've got to press
There's
like.
5 people watching it.
Oh, yeah, everybody press like. I haven't pressed like yet.
And they're the ones that just can't switch it off.
There's only 16 of us.
Their iPads are frozen right now.
Yeah.
Ian, thanks for helping us with the juggling of the video calls today. It was awesome of you, matey.
No problem at all.
We had to
So,
squeeze
like I
Chris
say, I
on
managed to
somehow.
get through my swishes.
Yeah, you did. Every time I buy them,
we need to get sponsored.
I have to remember to buy them on Saturday so that I don't eat them by the time the show comes around. By
needs
the
to
way,
get
Chris,
them
if you ever want to get squishies, you can get them from Woolworths, right? Yep.
Okay.
If you're into that.
You guys still got
Rance, your
Woolworths?
tip about not
It's been gone for years.
Yeah, we've got Woolworths.
your tip about not leaving them on the desk when you're working. I went through a whole packet. They were just sat there. And you just can't. You just. Yep. I literally have to take 2 or 3, put him in. I put the bag in the drawer, and then I
Oh.
don't come back to it.
Oh, dear.
Till next,
Half
Oh
price.
dear,
Yeah.
Daryl Lee.
Half price.
road.
It was half price. So it had to come home with me. Anyway, Brooksy, nice to have you back, mate. People were asking if you'd quit the show last week.
Oh
I
no.
quit the show.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what was it? 2 weeks ago, I was there for 10 minutes and was just
You were
smearing
poorly.
snot all over
Yeah,
everything,
you were
which was not
poorly.
good. And last Saturday, I was doing the Hardware Jams meetup here in Sheffield. So, no, I'm not quit. I might get thrown off at some point, but I'm not quit. Not yet.
It
Perish
happened to
the
me
thought.
today.
You haven't sworn at me yet. You've been too polite.
Bollocks.
I need to get a
Loads.
better camera as well.
Anyway, and a big thank you to these gentlemen and ladies who have been very nice and staying by and watching the show in the background. I did manage to do 3 hours and 15 minutes, see? And even with the later time. And by the way, I'm literally just about spent. It's about to hit midnight here. And on that note, wave goodbye, everybody.
Yep.
Goodbye.
See you all
Toodaloo.
soon, folks.
I'll take care.
Don't forget to hit record. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.